Now, mod issues aside, today is going to be pretty much the easiest day of OSUT that you're going to have. All right, it's primarily just going to be a lot of information thrown at you. That being said, make sure you're paying the fuck attention, taking notes and so on in preparation for tomorrow. We're going to first head out to the vehicle PID course, take you guys through some of the vehicles you're most commonly going to see. We're not going to cover every single vehicle you could possibly fucking see in an operation, but we'll take you over the stuff that you'll most commonly see, its capabilities, what we'll engage it with, so on and so forth. And we'll take you guys through mounting of the different rotary platforms that we use for air assault, as well as how we disembark those, so on. And we're going to take you over towards the gun trucks, take you guys through what we do for mounted operations, responsibilities, roles, so on and so forth, before finally heading over to the Urban Warfare Center to take you guys through some very basic CQC training. All right. Anybody got any questions before we get going?
No, for Sergeant.
No, for Sergeant.
No, for Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
All right. Follow me.
So I heard they took away Soto's fancy A10, and they're making him use the RHS A10 now. He got shot down over the weekend. Poor guy.
All right, so the first vehicle we're going to cover here, we're actually going to cover two of these basically at the same time. That's going to be the BRDM and the BTR, all right? The BRDM being the one on your left, my right. BTR is on my left, your right. Now, they are handled pretty much identically in terms of engagement and so on. But first, let's talk about where
Actually,
they are
it's a
similar.
BRDM,
They're
a
both wheeled
BTR
light armored
70
vehicles. They're both going to be
or
outfitted
80
with,
and a BTR
or
80A.
can be outfitted with anything from a medium to a heavy machine gun. Again, they're both wheeled, so they're fairly maneuverable, pretty damn quick. The biggest difference between the BTR and the BRDM is going to be the fact that the BTR is what would be classified as an APC, an armored personnel carrier.
Yeah.
It can carry troops in the back of it, roughly a squad worth of troops in the back. So that means it's automatically going to be classed as a higher threat level than the BRDM because of the amount of troops that it can carry in the back of it. So that means if we have both a BRDM and a BTR out in the AO, we're going to engage the BTR first because it does have that potential of carrying troops in it. It's a higher threat level. We always engage the higher threat level first.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
Now, the BTR is also amphibious, meaning it can cross bodies of water, fairly slow when doing so, but it can do it. In terms of the actual BTR
yeah, right up of
variations,
things dropping by.
Essentially, there's three BTRs. There's a 60, 70, and 80. At the end of the day, they're all the fucking same. Really doesn't matter. Just call it out as a BTR. It's all anybody gives a shit. You call it as a BTR, everybody's going to know what you're talking about. All right, but what's the biggest difference visually that you guys notice between a BTR and a BRDM?
Rev tires. For Sergeant.
Say again?
Rev tires.
Number of wheels for Sergeant?
Pretty much. All right, BTR's got 8. BRDM's got 4. In actuality, if you look down there in the center, it's got a couple of little ones down there in the center, but keep it simple. BTR's got 8. BRDM's got 4. Easiest way to identify between the two how many tires the fucking thing's got. All right, so when you do call it out, you know if it's a BTR or a BRDM. All right, any questions on these two vehicles so far?
Operations.
No,
for Sergeant.
All right. Now, in terms of engagement, we're going to start at the smallest weapon system and kind of work our way up. All right. So, firstly, SAW. All right, 249. We can engage either one of these vehicles with the SAW. However, the only thing we're going to engage is the actual tires themselves. We can take out the tires with the SAW and disable the vehicle. Doesn't eliminate the threat. It's still a fucking weapons platform. It just cannot maneuver on us anymore, so it's no longer mobile.
Hardman, do
However,
you have
keep in mind,
bailout
it's going to
scripts?
take roughly 50 to 100 rounds
Or
from the saw to take
if you
out
shoot
one
out
tire.
3 tires, will the
Right, so
crew
that's
bail?
something we're only going to use in
Because
emergency.
I know there's
We
scripts
have
you can use to
nothing
keep
else
the
available to
AI
us.
in the Vic.
Moving on from there, we then have the thumpers, right? The 320s and the 203s. That's where those HEDP grenades that you talked about on day one, that's where those come into play. They can disable the vehicle. Once again, it's still a threat, but it can
If he's
disable
still
the
here.
vehicle. It will also sometimes potentially destroy the vehicle. I've seen that happen before, but more often than not, it's just going to be what we would class as a mobility kill, meaning it can't move anymore. Moving on from there, we then got our AT sticks, all right, our AT4s and our M72 laws. Both of those are going to be effective on either one of these vehicles at their maximum effective range, which is 350 meters. Now, the AT4 can kill one of these beyond
Can we skip
350
the
meters,
briefing?
but it's not going to be as accurate because the weapon system only ranges out that far, so it's not technically effective.
Ah, that's funny.
But AT4's laws take out one of these things at 350 meters, pretty much no problem. The law has a higher likelihood of a mobility kill rather than a catastrophic, but it's still going to be pretty effective. Moving on from AT, we then get into what the weapons guys carry. Firstly, the 240s. 240s can fire on either one of these weapon systems with their AP ammo. Every MG team carries a limited amount of armor-piercing ammo. They can punch right through the armor on these vehicles, kill the crew or occupants inside, pretty much no problem, out to about 500 meters. Then, in terms of the AT that the weapons guys will carry, Moz will destroy one of these out to 1,000 meters, no problem, using either heat or HE. Even their high explosive rounds are powerful enough to kill one of these things at 1,000 meters, no problem. Javelin, pretty much never going to be fired at either one of these vehicles. It's a huge waste of munitions that we have a very limited amount of out there in the field. So you're not going to see a Jav generally fired at a BTR or a BRDM. All right, anybody got any questions on these vehicles?
No, First Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
All right, let's move on.
I don't think he heard it, but someone definitely only called him Sergeant. He would have gotten his ass chewed.
All right, next vehicle we got is another BTR. However, this
It's
is a
the
BTR 80
ADA.
Alpha.
It
The reason
murders
that we cover this
people.
separately is because it is at a different threat level. All right, what's the biggest difference you guys noticed between this BTR and the one we just covered?
The autocannon, First Sergeant.
Right. Goddamn autocannon sitting on top of this thing.
It's one of my
Now,
favorites.
in terms of engagement and capabilities and so on, it's all the exact same as the other BTRs. The only difference is that weapon system up on top. Now, autocannon, obviously very dangerous to those of us on the
It's a
ground firing
20
fucking HE at us,
millimeter.
but it's also dangerous to our air assets. One of these things can take down a helicopter fairly fucking easily.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's going to be classified as a higher threat level, because
We
it
don't
not
hold
only is it
still.
a bigger threat to us on the ground, it's also a threat to our air assets.
See, 506 doesn't run
But like I said, in
bloodlust.
terms of engagement, it's all the exact same.
TSB. These
But
things
you
will
do
murder
need to
infantry and they
differentiate
won't get
between
back
a
up.
BTR 80 Alpha and say a BTR 60 because of the higher threat level. So when you call them out, just make sure you call it as a BTR 80 Alpha, or
Gib for
very
days, right?
simply, call it as a fucking autocannon BTR. Everybody's going to know what the hell you're talking about. All right, any questions on that?
No, Sergeant.
No, First Sergeant.
All right, let's move on.
Then you have your BMPs.
All right, next one we're going to cover.
Yeah,
First, we're
Bad
gonna go
Wolf, they
over
have
the,
Tungustas
one on
in
my
their
right,
custom
your left
pack.
there.
That's what I'm
This is
jealous
the-
about.
Anybody know?
BMP, First Sergeant.
Anybody know the specifics? BMP.
1, First Sergeant.
There we go. Yes, it's a BMP 1. All right. The BMP is classified as an IFV, an infantry fighting vehicle. Now, the BMP platform, basically, as there is multiple types of BMPs, and we'll be going over all of them, but the BMP platform, obviously a tracked vehicle, so it's highly maneuverable. Not necessarily very fast, but it is highly maneuverable.
This thing can fucking
It is
spin.
also amphibious. It can carry troops in the back of it. The engine for these vehicles are in the front.
Aren't
but it
BTRs
can carry
amphibious
troops in
too?
the back of it. No, the
least I thought
BMP-1
70s at least.
specifically has a large smoothbore cannon that is primarily used for anti-armor, but they can load HE and fire HE shells, which are pretty goddamn devastating. It's a big round flying through the air. It also has a dumbfire
Yeah, all
rocket
BTRs
on
are,
the
I
top
figured.
of it. Right, that rocket, basically think of it like a bottle rocket. Right, they just point it in the direction they want it to go and fire it. It's not guided in any way. In terms of engagement with the BMP, again, we'll start at the lower tier stuff.
Hartman, does the 506 have
Now, obviously, this thing
an
doesn't have any
update for the
tires,
BMP1 where
so
firing the bottle rocket
we're not
won't
going to
disable
engage
the
it with
gun?
the
Because I
saw
know that's still an issue with the
or any type of
RHS,
40
I
millimeter
think.
launcher because we have no tires to destroy. So that immediately eliminates 2 of the weapon systems that we use to engage the BTRs and BRDMs and so on. So that takes us on to our AT sticks, our AT4s and our laws. AT4s,
As you
great
missed
at taking
Pogo.
out BMPs, up to and including 350
Nope, so
meters. They're
so
gonna
if they
be
fire that
effective,
rocket, it'll disable the
uh,
gun.
with exception to fairly
Or
long-range shots.
Are you
hit 'em
saying
in the
nope as
front,
in yes, you have
there's
it?
a good chance it's not going to be
Have that
effective.
fixed.
As you can see, these things have sloped frontal armor. If it's at a long range, or honestly, to tell you the truth, any range, you want to try and hit this thing in the flank, in the
Yeah,
rear,
basically,
or in the top
if you
plate.
see these ridges,
generally
never
don't want to
hit
stand
it
in
on
front of the
there
fucking
because
BMP
it,
to fire at it, because usually the turret's
it'll
facing
just
towards the front.
absorb the shot.
In terms of the law is generally only going to be effective out to about 100, 150 meters on
I know,
this thing
Hartman.
in terms of a kill. And even then, you have to hit it in a soft spot. You got to hit it down in the tracks, in the rear, or in the top plate. You cannot hit this thing direct on. Beyond 150
All right, until the
meters,
rocket
gonna be
reloads.
pretty
That's it.
much
You're
useless.
right. You're right, Tin.
All right, any questions on the BMP-1?
No, First Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
No, first sergeant.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, onto the BMP-2. Now, the BMP-2 has all of the exact same capabilities and characteristics. The only difference is the weapons. BMP-2 has
Glorious
essentially
Metis
the same
launcher.
fucking autocannon on it as what the BTR-80 Alpha does. So it's a big goddamn threat. But it's also got that yellow tube.
Yeah, I
sitting
know,
up on
Don.
top
Someone's
of it.
eventually going to kill him.
Anybody know what that yellow tube is?
A Metis launcher, First Sergeant.
The Conquer's missile. ATGM. Anybody know what that is? ATGM?
I guess I didn't transmit.
The tank guided missile, first sergeant.
Exactly. Anti-tank guided missile. All right. A lot of people default to calling it a tow missile. It's not a tow missile. All right. A tow missile is something that NATO forces use. This bastard does pretty much the same thing, though. It's a wire-guided missile.
Noise, I'll
park
probably
this
go
fucker through a
into
window
2-3
about a click,
because
click
they
and a half
have
away.
they operate on Sunday
Now,
nights and they have
generally,
trainings
It's
at
gonna be used for anti-armor.
after
But
I
you
would
can
be
still
doing
fire on
the
infantry,
Sunday
so it's still a threat
TSB
to us.
stuff, so I could fit
You can
everything
also
on
fire on
Sunday.
fucking air assets.
But I'll
though.
probably
These things can shoot down a helicopter with that fucking guided missile. If
I'll have
it's
to
close
change
enough.
my TSB training time
but
to something
again,
else.
also autocannon is a big threat. In terms of engagement, exact same weapon systems as the BMP-1, but it is important again that we differentiate between a BMP-1 and a BMP-2 because of that autocannon also being a big threat to air assets and that guided missile.
I know, one long
So
Sunday
what's
of Arma.
the-
That's how I like it.
Easiest identifier that you guys see in terms of differentiating between a BMP-1 and a BMP-2?
Yellow tube,
The
first
wire got it.
The yellow thing on top, really.
Two. Is there any kind of difference between armor between that one and the BMP-1?
Yellow tube is probably the most noticeable thing. First sergeant.
Yes. No, there's no real difference between the armor of a BMP-2 and a BMP-1.
They're both the
Not
same
for us.
frame, it's just the
But
weapon
yes,
system's
that
different.
tube up on top, easiest way to differentiate between the BMP-2 and a BMP-1. However,
Noise, I'll probably get put as
when you get into the next
M249
vehicle
gunner
that
auto
unfortunately we
rifleman.
don't have sitting out here right now, but a BMP-3,
BMP3 has a
BMP-3s will
completely
also
different
have that guided missile up on top.
frame.
BMP-3
Has a
is
bigger
basically
cannon.
the bastard child of these two vehicles. You take a BMP-1 and a 2 and stuff them together, you get a 3. So it's going to have 2 barrels coming out of the turret. It's going to have a large cannon as well as a smaller autocannon that runs parallel to it. Those 2 barrels are connected to each other. It's also got a different shape to it. It's a little bit more boxy. But that's the easiest way to differentiate between a 3 and a 2.
Neo, what the hell,
is
man?
that
Come
it's
on.
boxier and it's got 2 barrels on it instead of 1. Because, like I said, both of them will have that guided missile on top. All right. Any questions on the BMPs?
No, for
So-
sergeant.
Yes, sir.
No, first sergeant.
No, for Sergeant.
All right. Let's move on.
Is that a 72?
Next thing we're going to cover MBTs, or main battle tanks. Now, for us as infantry, they're all the same. Doesn't matter if they're a T-72, a T-80, T-90, if they're a variation of one of those,
Tim, they only,
if they're a fucking
only simulate as the
T-14,
506.
T-100, doesn't matter.
There are
They're
fun
all
ops where they
main
do
battle
different
tanks, or
factions,
MBTs.
but
Or simply
not
put
officially.
a tank, all right? If you just call out a tank, that's fine. It does not change how we're going to engage that vehicle at all. With heavy armor, as basic infantry, we basically have no weapon system against it. All right, laws aren't going to do dick. AT-4s are only going to give us a mobility kill, and even then we have to hit it down in the tracks or in the top plate right behind the turret, which is where the engine is going to be. If you actually look at the top plate of this thing right behind the turret, you'll see these two large grates. That's where the engine compartment is. So if you can fire down into there with an AT-4 from close range, you can kill the engine, but you're probably not going to destroy the vehicle. So it is
every
still a
fifth
threat.
Sunday equals fun day. Yep.
Now, the weapons guys, this is their bread and butter. Maws can generally take one of these out with a few rounds, depending upon range and where they hit it. The Javs will take out anything up to and including a T-90 with a single missile pretty goddamn easily out to 2.5 clicks. I mean, these things are what the Jav was designed to kill. The higher end stuff, the T-14s and T-100s, they can tend to take a few more rounds, as well as some of the late model T-90s and stuff like that with reactive armor that was basically created to fight things like Javs and special rounds and stuff like that. But generally speaking, Javs are going to be able to take one of these out with a single hit. As I said, for us as infantry, there's no difference in between any of them. If you don't have a fucking Jav or a Maz, your only real option is to find some cover, sit there and hide behind it, wait for either weapons or air to take it out. All right, any questions on MBTs?
No, for Sergeant.
Over, Sergeant.
No,
For Sergeant, does this include T-34s and 55s, or is it limited to 72s and above? For what you just said.
72s and above. 34s and 55s we generally aren't going to see very often, and if we do, fucking AT-4s will rip those things open like a can opener.
Thank you, First Sergeant.
All right, let's move on.
You got to consider, this is me working with the 506 for 2 years with their mods and stuff. They sometimes have stuff that has their own damage models, so I do want to ask because it's a different meta for me to learn.
All right, next vehicle. ESU-23, or the Shilka.
23 millimeter.
Anybody know what the nickname for these things are? No? Nobody's ever heard a nickname for these?
I don't
You ever heard of
remember.
the term of a Zeus cannon?
That is a Zeus
There
cannon.
you go.
Fuck!
Yes, for Sergeant.
This is a Zeus cannon. Or a Zeus gun. Or simply a Zeus. The Shilka. Now, I stressed to you guys how dangerous the BTR-80 Alpha is because it's got an autocannon. How dangerous
This
the
one has
BMP-2
4.
and BMP-3 are because they have autocannons. What do you guys see sticking out of the nose of this?
4 autocannons, First Sarge.
4 fucking autocannons. Not
And they
one,
fire
not
quickly.
2, 4. This thing can rip through 250 rounds of HE in about 10 seconds.
Right, as.
They are incredibly fucking dangerous. As you can see, they can depress the far enough
Excuse
to
me.
easily engage infantry. Although this is primarily an anti-aircraft vehicle, they can just as easily engage us. Easiest way to identify one of these things? Look up at the top there. You guys all see that white snare drum looking thing up top there?
Yeah, for Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant. Yep.
That's its radar.
As when's the last
Easiest
time
way
I
to
actually
identify a Shilka.
sent you guys
see
against
that white snare
Shilkas?
drum? You immediately know that's a Shilka. You need to
Oh,
call it out with a
Fridays.
fucking quickness because we
It's
gotta
Fridays,
know when this
isn't
type
it?
of shit is in the AO. Because again, it's a big threat to us, but it's a huge threat to our air assets. In terms of engagement, basically treat this the same as a BMP. It's what we would classify as medium armor. So we're going to use all the same weapon systems to engage this as a BMP, same effective ranges as with the BMP. All right. Any questions on the Shilka?
I mean, I had
Go
ZPUs
for it.
yesterday.
All right. Let's move on.
I wonder if he's gonna bring up Soto's pizza bet. Every time you shoot one of, blow up one of these, Soto gets you a pizza.
Next, we have a Tunguska, which is basically the pissed off brother to the Shilka. This also has autocannons. However, as you can see, it developed some fucking ears sticking off the side of it. Those are missile pods. Those are anti-air missiles. Has 8 of them. These things have a pretty decent range on them as well.
Soda hasn't done that for a
Roughly
while.
5
God
clicks or
damn it.
so in game.
I'm
Now
going
this
to
thing
start
is
racking up pizzas.
automatically going to be a bigger threat than a Shoka because not only does it have the autocannons, but also has the AA missiles. Easiest way to differentiate between a Shoka and a Tunguska, besides the obvious fact that the guns aren't sticking right out the center of the nose,
Is it
up
spins?
top there, again, look at the radar. All right, this has got your more traditional looking concave spinning radar thing going on, as to where the Shoka has that, again, white snare drum looking thing. So if you see the snare drum, you know it's a Shoka. If you see the concave spinning radar, you know it's a Tunguska. Right? Any questions on the Tunguska?
No, First Sergeant.
No, for sure.
Who keeps calling him
All right,
Sergeant?
you move.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. He's going to yell.
All right, next vehicles. We got a couple of GAZs sitting here.
GAZ Technicals.
Anybody happen to know nickname for these vehicles?
Technicals, First Sergeant?
That's the word I was looking for. Anybody tell me why that word is incorrect?
Damn!
Because they're not armed, First Sergeant?
Nope. Gun truck. A technical, or
Oh,
techie,
there's
as
Drum.
we'll generally shorten it to.
There's
A
the
techie
boss.
is a fucking Toyota with a goddamn PK machine gun in the back. It's not a purpose-built gun truck. Techies don't have ring mounts for heavy machine guns or grenade launchers. Now, while it may seem trivial, you know, what the hell does it matter? It's a fucking gun, or a truck with a gun in the back of it. Who the fuck cares? They're both what we would consider a soft target, meaning they have no armor, and so on. Why that's important is because we do actually see techies in the field every so often, right? So when you say you've got a technical and we come rolling over the hill to engage it, we're expecting at most to be going up against a medium machine gun. We crest the hill and see, holy shit, that's a gun truck with a fucking AGS-30 fully automatic grenade launcher on it. That's a big difference in weapons platforms. There's no difference in terms of what weapon systems we're going to use to engage it. But if we know that's a grenade launcher, not a fucking medium machine gun, we're probably going to approach the situation a little bit differently. Or if we know that's a Dishcom, which is a 12.7 mil, basically a 50 caliber machine gun, we're going to approach it differently than a PK. You guys understanding the difference there?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
sorry.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Those aren't.
All right. Now, as I said, they're both what we would consider soft targets. Obviously, they have no armor, you know. So we can engage it with every weapon system we have.
Challenge
However,
accepted.
these things are the bread and butter, basically, of the law. All right, you got an M72 with you and you see a gun truck out there, smoke that motherfucker with the law. Right? Yeah, you can shoot the gunner and the driver out of it with your rifle. That, you know, that's fine. It eliminates the current threat. However, that weapon system
I'd
can
assume
still be
Jeep is Jeep
remanned.
and Geep
Somebody
is
else
Geep.
can come up and hop on, you know, that 50 or hop on that grenade launcher and start sending rounds down range again. You hit it with a fucking rocket and destroy the vehicle, that threat is now eliminated permanently. So don't be afraid if you're carrying that law and you see a gun truck, don't be afraid to pull that law off your back and put a rocket into that gun truck. Nobody's going to fucking have a problem with that. All right, any questions on the GAZs?
No,
No,
First
sorry.
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Those aren't.
All right, let's move on.
There, I took one for the team.
All right, and actually I just misspoke. Those are UAZs, not GAZs. Here we have a GAZ and a Euro. Basically, they're just troop transports. All right, just call them as that. Everybody's going to know what you're talking about. It's a fucking wheeled vehicle with, you know, benches in the back that carries troops. That's fine. It doesn't matter what variation it is or so on. Just call it as a troop transport. We're all going to know what the hell you're talking about. Now, again, these are soft targets. They have no armor, so on. We can engage this with pretty much any weapon system. That being said, if they're dumb enough to basically drive into our engagement area and they haven't dismounted their troops, one, they're stupid. Two, you're probably going to see machine gunners start opening the fuck up especially into the back of the truck, because it's just a canvas top. It's not going to stop any bullets. If you have an M4 and you see machine guns, 249s and 240s start lighting these trucks up, just save your ammunition. Honestly, just wait for a couple of guys to try and pile out of the back, take your nice, controlled, accurate shots and drop them. But don't bother, dumping a mag into the fucking back of the truck. Let the machine gunners do it. They got fuck tons of ammo for a reason. Just save your ammo. If you got a thumper, put a couple of grenades on it maybe. But yeah, don't worry about firing a ton of rounds into the back to try and kill all the guys in the back of the vehicle. Just let the machine gunners take care of that shit. All right, any questions on the troop transports?
Nope,
No, First Sergeant.
All right, let's move on. All right, so
Hips.
two airframes we're going to cover here. These are both Mi-8 hips. All right, hips are a aerial troop transport. The one on my right here, this is your traditional Mi-8 hip used for troop transport. They can land and drop off troops. Guys can also fast rope out of them and so on. This airframe is armed. It's got a couple of machine guns on it, one in the front cheek and one in the rear. But those weapon systems are not for offensive use. Those are defensive weapon systems. Right? So you're not going to see these things trying to, lean over and strafe us with the machine guns. It's not what they're there for.
Oh,
They're
we do
just
that in
gonna be carrying
TSB a lot.
In terms of calling one of these out, just call it as a hip.
Remember,
You
Az
don't
and I
have to
were,
specify that it's a troop transport.
Ambiguous and I
Just
were
call
doing
it as a
that
hip.
in a mission
Everybody's
going to
know what you're talking about. In terms of
Yeah,
engagement,
except when ambiguous is
generally,
fine. Exactly.
we're not going to engage one of these. If it's sitting on the ground and it's getting ready to spool up like it's going to be lifting with troops, then we can put some rounds into it from the 240. The 240 will punch through one of these things pretty easily. We could even fire an AT4 round into it, or if we got the gun trucks, start hitting it with marks and 50 cal rounds. The gun trucks can also fire 50s at this thing, while it's up in the air. But in terms of small arms, we're not generally going to fire at one of these things. It's not that big of a threat because, again, the weapon systems are for defensive use. Now, on the other side here, the other hip, this is a gunship variant. Now, there's multiple different gunship variants of the hips. They'll mount anything under the fucking wings of these things. All right, so fucking rocket pods, cannon pods, dumb drop bombs, fuel bombs, fucking guided bombs, guided missiles. Pretty much anything you can think of.
One of my first 506 highlights, and I think the second mission I did for them,
is these gunship
one of these gunships dropped an FAB right on top of the first sergeant and a different guy. And I made it to be continued.
They have
out of it was
offensive
great.
weapon systems, and that's what they're going to do with them. They're going to go on the offense.
I felt so bad.
So these, much bigger threat to us, much bigger concern. Now, for us as infantry, in terms of calling something like this out, just call it as a gunship. Doesn't matter if it's this, the Hind that we're going to be going over in a minute, KA-60, anything. Anything
pretty
with
much, Mal. That's a
offensive
fair
weapon
assessment.
systems and a rotor on top of it, it's a gunship. We don't care about the variations because we handle all of them the same way. We fucking hide and wait for air to take them out. Pretty much it. Now, we do have the capability with a Javelin to lock on and take out a helicopter with a Javelin missile. However, if we don't have a Jav with us that night, we're shit out of luck. Our only option potentially.
Hardman, if you're still here, I heard they're cracking down on people using the mods against helicopters.
It's pretty risky to be
like change that in the SOP, right? So they can't do that anymore.
At a helicopter that's getting ready to strafe you. So, like I said, in terms of calling one out, just call it as a gunship. In terms of engaging it, we don't unless they're sitting on the ground and it's a prime target. All right. Any questions on the hip?
No, for a second.
All right, let's move on.
So I recently put a highlight out in the Secret Squirrel Lab last week where I shot one of these down with a frickin' 249. Just suppressed the pilot
the Mi-24
from underneath.
Hind, yeah, it's a gunship. For us as infantry, there's really no difference in terms of how we handle it.
Helicopter use radio because you're part of Dagger for JTAC, right?
We have the same amount of options.
If I remember correctly.
We don't engage it, or we send a Jav up at it. That's pretty much the only options we have. Otherwise, we wait for air to take it out.
Neo, we don't bring stingers on the ground.
The Hinds, tend to be a little bit more dangerous because they will have more weapon systems often. So pretty much the same type of stuff, though, whether
This
it
one doesn't
be
have the turret.
rocket pods and guided missiles, bombs, stuff like that. But they tend to have more of them, especially the rocket pod variants. They'll have fucking 2 to 4 rocket pods strapped underneath the fucking winglets, and those things are very, very dangerous. But again, in terms of what we're going to engage it with, it's the same. Nothing unless we have the Jav or maybe send some 50 cal rounds up at it. All right, any questions on the Hind?
249.
Nope.
Also, it does. It transport. It can do transport troops, right?
Yeah, it can transport troops, but you're predominantly not going to see a Hind used for troop transport because basically, think of it this way, okay? A Hind is a gunship, has a fuck ton of offensive weapon systems. You put troops in the back of it to drop off those troops. That helicopter either has to hover in place to let them fast rope, which is dangerous as fuck, or it has to land to let those troops out, which is dangerous as fuck. So,
Let's
vast
give 'em a
majority of
warm
the time,
welcome,
you're
shall
not
we?
going to see a Hind used for troop transport.
Sir, thank you, sir.
All right, any other questions?
TSP uses Hinds for transports all the time. No, for
All
Sergeant.
right, let's move on.
Warlord.
All right, so now we're going to get on to the Blue 4 airframes
Or
that you guys are
no.
going to see. The first one we're going to cover is the AH-64 Apache. Specifically, the one we use is the AH-64 Echo. Now, the Apache has a few party pieces
I don't
that
remember.
make it fairly special. Firstly, its radar system, right? That big-ass disc you see up at the top there. This thing is able to lock onto targets from
No, I'm
pretty
right.
good
Yeah,
distance
Warlord.
out. Paired with that, or
Right,
pair that
Soto's
with
Thunder.
something like a Hellfire missile.
And I
which
forget
can
what the call sign is for the little
Lock
birds.
on and fire
Because I
from
don't see them
roughly
use that
5
often, to be
kilometers out.
honest.
We also have lock on after launch capabilities and stuff like that. I won't get into too many specifics.
But Warlord
But
is their call
basically,
sign for
It's great at killing
Apache's
armor.
Lancer. That's the
That's
call
what
sign for the
Hellfires
little bird.
do.
And then Thunder's their call sign for
Predominantly kill armor. We can fire it at infantry
their,
and stuff like that
A10.
as well. But
Two
we're
used to just call him
primarily
the
gonna use
A10
it
Soto.
for killing armor. Also has this big ass
Yep,
wart on
Warlord,
the nose
Lancer,
of it.
Thunder, left to right.
That's its camera system. A camera can basically tell you if you're picking your nose from about 5 clicks away.
Yep.
Let's give him a warm
Also
welcome, shall
allows
we?
extremely long range engagement capabilities with that 30 millimeter gun underneath its nose. They can accurately engage with that thing at 2.5 kilometers. That means vast majority of the time, you're not going to see this thing in the AO because they're going to be sitting a ways out there behind deflate somewhere or
Yeah,
flying
Phoenixes,
around a long
UH-60s,
ways
Phoenix
out,
Heavies,
and every so often
CH-47.
they'll chuck a Hellfire into the AO and kill a
Thunders your
BTR
baby.
or a BMP or something like that. The only time generally you're going to see the Apache is if they're coming in with the guns and they got to close that distance into 2.5, 2 clicks or so.
Well,
Then you
Melon,
might
if it's
see
an
'em.
A10
Or
and
if we just bring 'em
TSB
in
and Grizzly's
close 'cause
flying,
we,
then it's going to strafe
wanna bring
you.
'em in
The
close
bad
and show the enemy,
guys,
hey,
the
we have a
civilians,
fucking
everyone in
Apache
the
sitting
AO
out
is going to
here.
die.
Try and use that as a bit of a deterrent. But vast majority of the time, you're not going to see these guys operating. You'll just be sitting there covering a sector. You'll hear that the Apache is going to be sending a Hellfire, and then you'll see a piece of armor randomly fucking explode because
the
it just got
Apache-
hit with a Hellfire. Now, a call sign.
Like, if we
for
were
the
here, the
Apache
Apache
is
is going to be about,
Warlord.
like, 2
All
clicks
right, so
back.
anytime you guys hear us say
They
Warlord,
keep them back
we're
pretty
talking
far,
about the Apache. Any
which
questions
is honestly what they're
on
supposed to be.
the Apache?
No, for Sergeant.
No, for sure.
Go for Sergeant.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah, no, I do know that as hammer for armor.
All right, next one. Got the AH-6 Little Bird. This one specifically is the MELB, the Mission Enhanced Little Bird.
Mhm.
Now, this also has a couple of little party pieces on it.
What's nice about the mission
first and
enhanced is
foremost,
it's got
that
a
little
drawn
fishbowl underneath the
circle
nose.
reticle
Camera.
to where the bullets go.
Essentially the same camera that's on the Apache
Aim.
for us. Now, it's also outfitted with rocket pods and the GAU-19 Bravo, which is
Oh,
a
the
50
Apache would
caliber
always
Gatling
beat
gun.
a Hind.
Really fun fucking weapon
There's no
system.
way in hell.
Now, the Little
in
Bird
even
is
settings of
primarily
skill,
gonna be used
the
for
Apache will
reconnaissance
always
because
beat the
of that
fucking
camera
Hind.
system and because of the
Every
fact
time.
that it doesn't have any armor. Doesn't even have fucking doors on it. So vast majority of the time, you're not going to see these guys. They're going to be doing some reconnaissance unless we do call them out in for CAS, close air support, to do a gun and rocket run, in which case they'll generally come in
Well, if the Hind's piloted by
very
Rambo, then you're
fast,
fucked.
very low,
That's
and
just
then
how
they'll
it is.
pop up, hit their target with guns and rockets, and then peel the fuck out of there as quickly as possible, because again, they don't have armor. So they want to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. Something
Lancer
as
usually gets
simple as
shot down a lot.
Very lucky AK-47 could technically bring this entire thing down. So they got to be careful of that.
I've been
Probably
shot out
the,
by a 5.45 AK in one of these. And
or not,
we were
however,
doing
but the
Liberation
call sign
a few months
for
ago.
the Little Bird is going to be Lancer. All right, so anytime you guys hear us talking about Lancer, talking about the Little Bird. All right, anybody got any questions?
No, for Sergeant.
No, for sure.
That's what I
Numbers aren't.
All right, let's move on.
Thunder!
All right, anybody know what this is?
A10.
A10.
Anybody know what the real name is?
No.
The Burtmobile?
A10 Thunderbolt 2.
The what?
A10 Thunderbolt 2. Got any history buffs and know what the original Thunderbolt was? No?
Playing in World War II.
P-47.
That was
It's also known as the milk jug.
Yep.
Now, the A10 that we use is capable of fitting all different types of munitions to it. You know, you got fucking Mavericks, you got small diameter bombs, large GPUs, CVUs,
Or Scavalor when
all
you need
kinds
them.
of shit. AIM-9 Sidewinders, which also we can fit AIM-9s to our Apaches for air-to-air. So all different types of munitions. I'm not going to go through every type of munitions and their capabilities and so on, but basically this thing carries a lot of fucking hate and discontent. And then the last little party favor, the GAU-8 Avenger, the 30mm Gatling gun. No, the fucking wives' tale of the GAU-8 being so powerful that if physics allowed it and you just held down the trigger, it'd make the gun or the plane fly backwards because it'd overpower the engines. No, not that fucking powerful. And no, it's not
Yeah,
the
that
largest
weapon system
gun
isn't just
ever
that, but
fitted
it's
to a plane.
literally entire.
They put fucking
under the
cannons
entire
on planes
cockpit
back
and
in World
shit.
War One. It is the largest Gatling gun ever fixed to a plane. Now, all of you guys have fucking heard an A-10 fire before, right? Everybody knows the whole Burt sound.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right.
What's up?
That's one of the most distinctive things about the A-10 is the sound of that gun. We will use that gun
506 has custom
for
sound files for that
area
gun,
denial, basically.
so it sounds legitimate.
Just to let the enemy know, we've got a gigantic fucking cannon up there. Do not try to go into that area, or we will end you. One of the other distinctive things about the A-10 is the sound of its engines. Got dual turbofan engines up top there. I will tell you, it's one of the most unique sounding aircraft in the world. And once you hear them, you never forget that sound. I was sat next to these things for 11 fucking months. Anytime you hear one, you will know that's an A-10. Now, primary role of the A-10 for us is CAS, close air support. It can also do reconnaissance thanks to its very powerful fucking camera, but its primary role is going to be close air support. We really need shit dead. This is what we're going to call on. Call sign for the A-10 is going to be Thunder. So when we talk about Thunder, we're not talking about the weather, we're talking about the fucking A-10. All right, any questions?
No, for Sergeant.
Liru, I want my goat back.
All right, let's move on.
Apex, honestly, if you put two OP people in, because the OP-ness of both would cancel out, so it would just come down to Apache versus Hind. So Chuck Norris with the Apache. So it looks like this covers how to load in the vehicles and how to dismount from them.
All right, so next thing we're going to be moving on to is the mounting of our airframes. And
What was it?
go
Eagle,
over
Eagle Heavy.
dismounting as well. But first, we're going to go over mounting. All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is the UH-60 Blackhawk. When it comes to mounting these airframes, we're going to approach it at a 90-degree angle, as that's where the doors are, off to the side. Line up, load into the bird.
Mostly
rotors
RHS,
are
a
spun
few
up,
cup for
Guys
things
are
like
going to be
some
crouched
Gusta.
like what you see here. Generally, what they'll do is they'll split one team on each side.
Yeah, it's Phoenix and Phoenix
So
Heavy, right?
Alpha would be on the left, Bravo would be on the right, so on. Once they get permission from the pilot to load, they'll load in. Team leaders are the only guys that get on the guns.
Yeah, both team up and kill everything
If we're
else.
at the
Yeah,
base,
that sounds about
like
right.
if we're lifting from the base, once the team leaders get on the guns, they'll point the guns directly down at the ground until we lift and clear the airbase. Then they'll lift the guns up and cover a sector like normal, so on. All right. The big thing to keep in mind with the Blackhawk is when we load
I
into
knew it,
these
Harvin.
things, it oftentimes will basically fill up on one side and won't allow you to load from that side anymore. So keep that in mind. If you go to load into the bird and you just don't get the option through your scroll wheel to load in, run around to the other side and you should be able to load in. That being said, when you run around to the other side, move around the front of the bird. Do not ever move around the back. Go around the front. All right. 2 reasons you don't want to go around the back. One,
Lord, when
there's a
we're
big
walking,
fucking
I'll answer
spinning
that
blade of
question.
death back there. 2, everybody's trained to not go around the back of the aircraft. So that means when somebody moves around the back of the aircraft and there's 2 guys on those 7.62 millimeter Gatling guns, they get a little jumpy when they see something moving around the back of the fucking bird because everybody's trained not to go back there. So again, only move around the front of the Blackhawk. Is everybody clear?
Clear.
Yes, for certain.
All right. Let's move on to the next one over here.
Just writing
So
that
here
down.
we have CH-47 Chinook. Now, Chinook is the one where I would say
So,
primarily
the
gonna
goats came
use
from
for air
memes
assault
back
because
2
we can
years
obviously fit
ago.
more personnel. Where the
Bloodwing
Blackhawk, we can
did her first
fit
stop and made
roughly
an
one
absolute
squad
hell island
of
for the
troops.
players to hit,
Chinook,
and
we can
they
fit
got
roughly
massacred
2
multiple
squads.
times.
It's a
That's where
little bit
goats
more
came
for
from. That's where
both,
Liru, I
but
want my goat
basically
back came from.
2 squads
essentially.
are going to load into a Chinook. And when we load in, it's just like what you see here. 2 groups, 45-degree angle off the ramp. Now, you don't really need to crouch loading into the Chinook. It's not necessary. You're nowhere near close enough to the fucking rotor to have any problems or anything like that. But you do want to make sure you're at a 45-degree angle. If you move headlong at the ramp and you take a few too many steps forward, you'll just basically walk up the ramp and it'll sometimes cause issues and shit like that, so on and so forth. So just approach at a 45-degree angle, hit your scroll wheel, load in. Now, it's the same gig as with the Blackhawk in terms of the guns. Team leaders are the only guys that get on the guns. Everybody else just loads in. More often than not, the rear seats or the ramp seats, as they're called in the menu, that's where the machine gunners are going to go. So either 240 gunners or guys with saws are going to load onto those ramp seats to give us a little bit of extra firepower at that back ramp so that when we come in to land and the pilot levels the ramp, those guys can raise their weapon and cover the direct rear of the bird. All right. Any questions on loading into the Chinook?
No, Sergeant.
No, for certain. Who keeps saying
All
that?
right. Let's move on to unloading.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to get yelled at, and then I can take the little clip out.
All right. So the Chinook. When we're coming in to land, we'll generally get
They'd be
a
spaced out a
30-second
little bit
call
more.
or so from the pilot. He'll call back to us on the intercom system, say 30 seconds. You'll hear a bunch of guys echo it out. They'll level the ramp out. We'll come in. We'll land. Once we land with the Chinook, there's a very specific dismount procedure, basically, that we have to go through. Dismount the Chinook. From
Rambo
ramp
would protect me.
to
Norris would
cockpit.
try to kill me.
Right, so from back to front, we alternate basically back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth.
I
all
don't
the way
know
up
how
the
to
benches.
explain it, but that
First
would
2
be
guys out are going to be the ramp guys.
Don't
They're
ask why.
immediately going to button hook and face the front of the airframe. That's the 2 guys you see right now facing up front. They would have been sitting on the ramp seats. So they get
Yeah,
out,
249
button hook on their
gunners.
side, cover direct front. Then everybody else starts unloading. Again, from back to front, gunners are the last guys out. And they just fill in a semicircle from the first 2 guys that came out. So they just kind of circle it out from there. Just like what you see set up here. And they maintain security until that bird is lifted. We don't move until that bird is lifted because we're its security. Right? This is when they're most vulnerable, is when they're sitting on the ground. Once that bird lifts, then you need to move. Not fucking a minute later. Don't wait to get orders, where you're going, so on and so forth. As soon as that bird lifts, you need to get the fuck out of that LZ. Move to cover or concealment. Obviously, we're always going to favor cover first. If there's no cover available, move to concealment.
Bloodlust is
But
a mod where if you
move.
take
Do not just sit out
explosive
there in an open
damage or
fucking
high
field.
caliber,
All right,
multiple
everybody
high
clear on
caliber rounds like 50 cal, you will just explode in blood.
Sergeant.
All right, let's move on to the Blackhawk.
And you'll need to be brought back in because you die, and you can't be epied or packed or, brought back up. You get fucked.
Now, Blackhawk, much simpler in terms of dismounting, right? As soon as the bird lands, everybody just gets the fuck out as quickly as you can. Okay? There's no specific dismount procedure. You don't have to wait for, so on and so forth. You just get out. The only downside is that the Blackhawk will sometimes spit people out unevenly, meaning sometimes you'll
It'll throw like
dismount
6
and there'll
guys on the
be
left and
3
2 guys on the
one
right.
side of the bird and 7 guys on the other. Or there'll
Yep.
be 5 guys on one side and 5 guys on the other, and you get lucky. It's kind of a crapshoot. That being said, once you get out of the bird, take a couple of real quick steps forward, basically get out to the
It'd
end
be
of the
cool if
road,
there was an ace
drop down to the
interaction.
dirt, pick up a
Because I
sector,
know
and just hold security as best
3CB
you can, whether there's, 5 of you
vehicles, the
or 2 of
Jackals,
you on your
you can
side.
actually choose to
Just pick up a
dismount
sector
on
as
the
best you
left or
can,
right
and hold
side
security until that bird
through a
lifts.
scroll wheel
Again,
option.
once
So
it
I wonder,
lifts, start
Hardman,
moving.
you want to look into something?
So you can get out of the Blackhawk as quickly as possible.
Because that could be a
Can't
potential
do
fix
that
for
in the
that.
Chinook. Right? We have to follow that dismount procedure. If we were to, in the Chinook, try and just all pile out like we do with this, with the Blackhawk,
Yeah, Az, back me up.
sometimes it'll basically cause guys to stack on top of each other
Az,
until someone's
remember
head ends up
Fallujah?
going into the fucking
Wasn't there
tail rotor,
scroll wheel options for the
which is
Jackal, so
obviously
you
not
could choose
good.
to dismount on the left or
Not only
right
does it
sides?
fuck him up,
Or
more often
Malin
than
might
not,
also
it destroys
remember.
the fucking helicopter.
Because I could have sworn we
Fucks
had that.
everybody's day up.
Yeah, in
Just
3CB
keep that
stuff.
in mind.
Yep.
Blackhawk, we
So I
pile
wonder
out.
if,
Chinook, we have to follow that dismount procedure. Right? Any questions?
Hardman,
on
could you
that?
pass that up for me?
No, Sergeant.
No, for certain.
Go for it.
No, for certain.
All right. Let's move on to the mounted operations.
A Bloodwind always tears me a new one. Yeah, I know it does do it a bit weirdly at times, but hey, that would be better than, the RNG of a Blackhawk. Just an idea. Liru playing all the Arma, sees things here and there.
All right. So, what we're going to go over here is roles and responsibilities in terms of when we're doing mounted operations or convoy, as guys will often refer to it as, but basically working with the fucking gun trucks.
Harmon's saying, oh,
Now,
no.
anybody happen to know what the name of these trucks are? The big 6-wheel bastards that you see around you?
I don't remember.
No?
Fine. Go for certain.
No, for certain.
Doesn't really matter. I was just hoping or waiting for one of you guys to say MRAP. Right. MRAP isn't a name of a vehicle, it's a classification. It's a type of vehicle, basically. Guys get that confused fairly often. It's fine, but MRAP, basically, mine resistant, ambush protected. All that means is it's basically an
Armored.
up-armored vehicle with a V-shaped hull. That V-shaped hull, basically think of it like the bottom of a boat that's used for explosive forces and gases, basically to be pushed up and away from the vehicle rather than, the flat bottom of things like a Humvee where it basically all just goes straight up into the passenger compartment. These, it pushes it up and away. Now, it doesn't mean these things are fucking bomb-proof, all right? You set a 155 shell off underneath pretty much anything, it's going to be fucked up, but they're much more survivable. They can take a lot more damage. Now, the trucks that we use specifically will use the 6 wheels. We have a couple of different variations of them. We have the 50 cals. We have Mark 19s. We also have a Crow mounted 50 cal, which the Crow system is basically think of it like a kind of like a video game within a video game. Right? It's a remote control operated 50 caliber. So you sit up in the front seat with a little joystick,
You
and
shoot people.
spin the thing around and shit, and you can fire from there. You don't have an actual turret to be in. Then we also have unarmed variants. Now on top of that, big 6-wheel bastards, we also have the one you guys have right behind you there. It's one of the RGs. Specifically, that's the GC or the GCV, as you'll often hear it referred to as a ground command vehicle.
Yeah, that's more about. Yep. Yeah, you just
Now,
said it.
the big kind of special
That
part
big
about
antenna on
the
the back
GCV
left.
is that big ass tube you see at the back of it. That's a camera mounted on a pole system that can move up and down
It's a big
out of
boy.
that housing there. Has full thermal capabilities, night vision, so on and so forth. So we'll use that in conjunction with.
Well, yeah, Mal, we
the
don't
other
use the
trucks.
exact terms. We just classify
No,
them as what they are.
I'm sorry. So this truck right here is kind of like has like a UVA camera on it or something like that.
It's like a UAV camera without the flying part.
I'm not UVA, but like a retractable camera.
Brewer
or
had
something.
to figure out how to respond to that one.
Moves up and down out of that cylindrical housing.
Because UAV unmanned aerial.
Now, in terms of the mounted operations, I'm going to basically take you guys through what each person's responsibility is
Whew.
dealing with the truck. We're going to basically assign one squad per gun truck. Okay, so you're going to have 10 guys per truck. One fire team is going to be responsible for the truck. One team is just the dismount team. They just ride in the fucking back of the truck. Enjoy the fucking ride. The team that's responsible for the truck, that's what we're going to be going over. So before you even get into the operation, you're going to be briefed in terms of what type of truck you're going to be taking, what number you're going to be in the convoy of vehicles. So whether you're going to be the lead Vic or the third Vic or so on and so forth, you're going to be briefed on all of that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, traditionally, the rifleman is the driver of the truck. Grenadier is the gunner. That's to keep the natural buddy teams within a fire team together. Rifleman and Grenadier, and then the AR and the team leader dismount when necessary. Traditionally, that's not fucking scripture. So if your rifleman can't drive worth dick, guess what? He's not going to be the
He's
driver
not
for the
gonna
truck.
try.
Somebody else better do it. If it's got to be the team leader, then it's got to be the team leader. Whoever's best suited to do that job does that job. You know, if your Grenadier can't hit,
Yes, this is just training.
fucking wall 50 meters away with the Mark 19, then you better find somebody else to gun on that truck because that motherfucker ain't doing it. But traditionally, rifleman is going to be
I
the
think
driver.
Az is at
That's the
6:30.
role we're going to go over first, the driver. So, as I said, you'll get briefed ahead of time what type of vehicle, what order you're going to be in, so on and so forth. Once you load into the server, get geared up, get your PCCs knocked out. If the vehicles are
Oh,
not
party
already
zone
lined
slot.
up,
I can make that.
and you get told, hey, go grab our truck and line it up, you'll step over to the fucking motor pool section, hop in whatever truck it is you're supposed to be
Let's give 'em a
taking,
warm
pull it
welcome,
out
shall
onto
we?
the road where we need the vehicles lined up, and you'll line it up in the correct order. Once you've got your vehicle lined up, now you need to do a radio check for your vehicle, because each one of these vehicles are equipped with 2 long-range radios, one for the driver, one for the gunner. Driver absolutely has to be on the radio with the rest of the convoy. There's
Yep.
no fucking debate on that.
Convoy
They have
net.
to be on that radio. So in order to do the radio check on your long-range radio, first you got to actually program the radio. So you're going to hold Alt and press P as in Papa, open up your long-range radio in the truck. You're going to set the frequency to 50. Do not forget that fucking frequency. 50 never changes. Same for every single fucking mounted operation. 50 is convoy net.
That's
Once
going to
you
be
set
easy to
your radio
remember.
50, you're then going to do a radio check.
50 and
just like
TSB is
you guys were taught
high
to do a
command net
radio check on day one.
/
The only
ground
difference
command net
being
/ squad net.
your calling station is no longer your name.
main
It's going
net.
to be your vehicle number. So if you're the third Vic in the convoy, then you're going to say any station this net. This is Vic 3 radio check frequency 50 over. And then someone's going to respond back to you. Vic 3, this is Vic 1, read you Lima Charlie frequency 50 over.
So
Roger,
apologies if I'm breaking the ideas.
Very
I'm just
simple.
writing
Everybody
some of
tracking
this
so
down
far?
in my notes.
Yes,
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. And once your radio check is done, you get to hurry up and wait.
So I don't want to fail the oral quiz.
Once all the waiting's done, everybody's going to get loaded into the truck. Driver will the gunner will more often than not get on 5-0 as well, just so they can hear what's going on in the rest of the convoy. They can also do the talking on convoy net in terms of turns and speed changes. We'll go over that in just a second. But the gunner can do that job as well, because obviously they don't have as much going on unless they're engaging shit. Now, the reason why that's important is if you're the driver driving the truck, you're using Whiskey Alpha Sierra Delta to drive the
let's
truck
give
and
him a
turn it
warm
and so on and so
welcome,
forth.
shall we?
The default hotkey to talk on your long-range radio primary channel is Control and Caps Lock at the same time.
Mhm.
I highly recommend you change that. But if you don't feel comfortable changing that, that's fine. But the default hotkey is Control and Caps Lock at the same time. That'll talk on your or transmit on your long-range radio primary channel. However, it's kind of difficult to hold down those two keys, talk, and use WAS or D to drive your vehicle all at the same time.
That's what I have
So that
buttons
is
on my
why
mouse.
sometimes the gunner will take over communication for that vehicle, because all he's doing is fucking sitting there. But change the hotkey for long-range radio to something that's a little bit easier to hit while you're driving, then you can do it as the driver, no problem. In terms of the communications for the vehicle, turns and speed changes. That's the stuff you're most commonly going to hear said on Convoy Net. First Vic and the last Vic are the
Get a
ones that
call
call
when
out
you're
the turns
turning.
and the speed changes. Okay, so if the convoy has to make
okay.
a left-hand turn, lead Vic will call, lead Vic, turn left, and then they'll turn left. Everybody else will remain silent until the last vehicle gets up there. Then the last Vic is going to call last Vic, turning left. If we make a speed change, if the convoy commander comes over net and says, all Victors increase speed to 50 kph. Lead Vic will say, Roger, increasing speed 50 kph. He'll speed up. Everybody else will remain silent. Last Vic will come across the net. Roger, increasing speed 50 kph. That simple.
How many pages,
We
Hardman?
don't
I can
need
check.
every vehicle in the convoy to call out turns and speed changes. If the first and last Vic have done it, then that means everybody in the middle had to have done it. It's a gigantic game of Snake. Guys in the middle have to do what the guys in the front and back do. Are you guys understanding how
5
that works?
so far.
Yeah, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right.
So
Now,
page
move
4,
on
the
to
second
the
half
gunner.
is just drawing out the range from day
driver
2,
goes through his whole ordeal.
making a range
Gunner,
table so I
you
knew
load
how to
into the
sight
truck
the
when everybody else loads
249
in.
sight.
Get up into the fucking turret. The first thing you're going to do is point the gun directly up into the air if we're on base. Once we're off base, lower the gun down. You're going to pick up your sector of responsibility. Now, if you're the
Malin,
lead Vic, your
I don't
sector
want
of
to make tests in
responsibility is
TSB because
direct
it's
front.
supposed to be a
That gun
casual
stays
group.
pointed direct
If
forward
you fuck up,
at all
you
times.
generally weed yourself out.
If you're the last Vic, your sector of responsibility is the direct
Right,
rear.
Malin?
Gun stays pointed rearward at all times. If you're Vic 2,
Hey,
up to you to
Iron, how
decide.
have you been doing?
You
It's
want
been
to
a
cover
while.
left or right?
And I've always
If
wanted to
second
join. It's
Vic is
just
covering right,
there's been
then that means
some
third Vic is
issues
covering
regarding dual
And
claning
fourth
rules
Vic
and
is going to
stuff,
be
but it was
covering what
recently
direction you wanna
overturned.
take it.
Opposite.
I completely missed that question.
Fourth base covering the rear. For Sergeant.
Covering the right. You alternate it back and forth,
Oh.
all the way down. So you get to the last Vic. Last Vic is covering the right, or covering the rear. Right, so just alternate it back and forth. So if you look ahead of you and the gun in front of you is pointed to the left, then point your fucking gun to the right. Once you're rolling, you as the gunner, you don't really have shit to do. Right, just cover your sector. That's it.
Well, Tim,
If
KTD was a special
take an engagement,
circumstance.
or if you see
Same with
targets and are going to engage, then
fuck, I can't
you'll
even
call it
remember
out
the
on
other
Convoy
ones.
Net. It's Vic 3. I got contact
Same with
right
Lewis. Same with
as you open up. That's fine. All right, but other than that, you don't really have
God,
to do
I
any
don't
talking
remember.
unless your driver can't handle talking on the radio. In which case, if you're the lead Vic and your driver can't talk on the radio and drive at the same time, then you're going to have to call out those turns and those speed changes and shit like that. All right, any questions on gunner's responsibility?
No, for Sergeant.
No, for Sergeant. So yeah, I'm just writing down a few things he said.
All right. Next thing we're going to move on to is when we dismount the vehicles. So we need to dismount the vehicles. First thing we're going to do is call for a herringbone, which is basically what you see down at the end there.
Someone named
Those
Captain
vehicles are
Smith. That
what
would
we
be called Captain
in
Top
a
Cack.
herringbone formation. Lead Vic is going to decide
I remember hearing that in the first
What?
stop, though.
direction he's going to go in the herringbone. It's all up to the lead Vic. So lead Vic's going to call out on convoy. Net,
He lasted a
lead
whole
Vic,
20
herringbone left,
minutes.
and he'll pull off to the left.
Was it in the
Or
first
lead
stop?
Vic herringbone right, and he'll pull
So I
off to
was
the right.
busy
At a
fantasizing about my
45-degree angle, like you
technical.
see there, completely off of the road. And everybody just alternates off of him. So what you see here, the lead Vic went right, so Vic 2 went left, Vic 3 would go right, Vic 4 would go left, so on and so forth, all the way down. Once the vehicle is pulled off the road, we're then going to conduct one of 3 different types of dismounts. Either a soft dismount, which means all non-essential personnel dismount the vehicle. It's going to be everybody but the driver and the gunner. Or we're going to do a combat dismount, which means everybody but the gunner gets out of the vehicle. Or we're going to do a full dismount, which means, guess what? Everybody gets the fuck out the truck. Now, soft dismount is absolute minimum. Anytime we stop the trucks for more than a couple of seconds, we're going to soft dismount. You do not need to wait for an order to dismount the fucking vehicle. If you've been sitting still for 5 seconds, get the hell out of the truck, because these things are gigantic bullet magnets. The last thing you want to be doing is sitting inside of a steel coffin. So get the fuck out of the truck. Combat dismounts are pretty much only going to be used when we're in combat. All right, we're engaged or we're engaging. There's bullets flying. We want every rifle in the fight that we can have. The driver will hop out of the truck, start engaging targets. However, the driver always wants to be semi-close to the vehicle, because if that vehicle needs to fucking move, it's his responsibility to get in that thing and move it. Full dismount, the only vehicles that are ever going to get a full dismount are unarmed trucks. We never leave an armed vehicle unattended. The only
I wish
exception to that
TSB
is
followed
if the
that
vehicle is
fucking
no
rule.
longer operable. If it's taken so much damage we can no longer use it, then we will fully dismount the vehicle, plant demolitions on it, get away from it, and detonate the thing. So, again, soft dismount, combat dismount, full dismount, bare minimum, soft dismount. Another thing to go over, when we dismount the trucks, try not to use the truck for fucking cover. Again, they're bullet magnets. Search for another piece of cover. If no cover is available, then, all right, use the truck if you absolutely have to, but try not to use the truck for cover. When we dismount in a herringbone formation like what you see here, one primary fucking rule in a herringbone: do not be the chicken, do not cross the fucking road. Do not cross the road. Stay on your side. All right. The only guys you're going to see crossing the road
It's command and
maybe
medics.
the command element. More often than not, we won't. But weapons guys will send a machine gun team across the road.
That's fair.
Reason being, if say we're engaging to the front, we're rolling the gun trucks down, and we have a fucking roadblock or something with vehicles at it and infantry and so on, so we herringbone the trucks, everybody gets the fuck out. They're going to send a machine gun team across the street, and then they're going to set up the 240s on each side of the road, basically on the rails, and they're going to start firing those 240s right down the rails. You don't want to try and cross the street and get fucking kneecapped by a 240, because he's looking down the scope and he's already sending rounds down range, and then he sees your foot in his fucking face. Don't run across the road. Also, if there's a vehicle down there, probably going to be a weapons guy that comes hopping out, and he's more than likely going to be sending a fucking Maus round right down the center of the road. Sure as shit, do not want to catch the side of one of those to your head. So again, do not cross the fucking street. Is everybody clear on that?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Someone just called him Sergeant again.
The last thing to go over very quickly here in terms of mounted operations and stuff. All right, I know I've fucking thrown a lot of information at you guys today. Okay? But the main thing to always keep in mind with these trucks, they're a force multiplier, yes. All right, those weapon systems on top, great. Whether it's a 50 or a Mark, they're great. But they're also our fucking ride home. And it's our responsibility as infantry to protect those, because otherwise your ass is going to be walking for a long ways. Now, whether it be you're in the dismount element or you're, responsible for the vehicle by being the driver or the gunner, either way, we're responsible for the safety of that vehicle. That means if you're the driver, it's your job to place that vehicle in a position where it is safe. Engaging comes secondary to the safety of that vehicle. If your gunner can't engage shit, yeah, that sucks. Try and put him in a position where he can engage. But if your vehicle is currently being engaged by a fucking BMP-2 with an autocannon, guess what? The safety of that vehicle is more important than specialist dipshit up top wanting to engage with 50 cal. Because that BMP gives no fucks as to how good a time he's having shooting at enemies. It's going to blow your truck the fuck up. Or is everybody clear on that?
Yes,
Yeah,
First Sergeant.
All right. Porter, send your question.
So thanks for starting. The herringbone, is that a default when you stop the convoy, or is it an order?
It's going to be an order that comes across the net. If we're stopping the convoy, though, we're always going to say to herringbone.
Happy, thanks for Sergeant.
All right. Anybody else got any questions on anything?
Never starting the soft dismount. Who gets out in soft dismount?
All non-essential vehicle personnel get out of the vehicle. So that means everybody but the driver and the gunner gets out.
Rod for Sergeant.
Anybody else? All right. What we're going to do now, we're going to go over some very basic breaching techniques, clearing techniques, and so on.
Dear.
As well as some real quick talk about moving in an urban scenario. And you guys are going to be doing a little bit of very remedial breaching techniques. All right, so follow me.
Damn it, sticky keys. I always disable it, and every freaking Windows update, it re-enables itself. And I'm like, why? Why you do this?
All right, why don't each of you guys go into the arsenal here? Just grab a rifleman loadout or whatever loadout you please. I don't really give a shit which loadout you grab. Just make sure you condition for your weapon once you have grabbed your loadout.
My baby. My baby. This is the thing I use to shoot helicopters down with, because I'm a special snowflake. Which do I prefer, white or black? Hey, bro. Angels or demons? Really? Huh. What about big titty golf gifts? Yes. GFs. Just having fun. Calm down. So I know this is this type of buildings from a mod. I'm more of I guess black based on principle.
All right. So, a couple of quick things to go over here before we really get into the actual topic itself. Okay. This area that you see here, it's known as the Urban Warfare Center. This entire training center is built into the default training template that the servers are always defaulted to. Anytime you guys pull up, our servers and you see that it says, training map or whatever, this is on that map. When you load into the load-in area, you'll see a little green flag off to the side. That green flag leads out to this Urban Warfare Center. You guys are more than welcome anytime to load onto the server, come out to this Urban Warfare Center and practice, different techniques and stuff like that. Provided nobody's using it for training or things like that. But you guys are welcome to load on and use that training template, come out here and, go through this area, practice and stuff. Now, next thing, what we're going to be going over here is the absolute bare bones fucking basics of MOUT. MOUT is military operations on urban terrain. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to teach you everything that I would like to teach you in terms of urban combat. Okay.
Side note,
I
Brewer
run
does
a
do his
secondary
own.
school within the unit.
Yep.
The urban combat school that will usually run on the off Saturdays. All right. So the Saturdays we don't have a task force operation, I'll run an urban combat school. Usually takes anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. And even then, we don't get to go over everything that I would like to go over. Okay. Thing you have to keep in mind is close quarters combat or CQC, MOUT, urban operations, however you want to fucking label it. It is the most dangerous thing that we do. It is the most difficult thing that we can do. And the difficulty is only amplified by the fact that it's a video game. It's Arma. You have nowhere near the same fine motor controls or control over your body itself as what you do in reality. Now, yes, you also don't get tired and you're not fucking out of breath by the third house that you get to, but you also get stuck in a fucking door or, trip over a set of stairs or whatever other type of stupid shit. So what we do in Arma is in reality much easier to do in real life. Obviously, it's nowhere near as dangerous because it's a fucking video game and it's not real life, but you're not going to be perfect. There's guys that train their entire lives and still will say that they fuck things up in CQC. You're sure as fuck never going to be perfect in Arma. So just keep that in mind. Now, the first thing we're going to go over is in terms of movement in an urban terrain. You guys remember talking about formations on day one and the spacing in formations?
I'm actually listening, so I'm going to keep listening.
You guys remember that?
We'll talk about it after Apex.
All right. So you guys also remember when I was telling you how in an urban environment, I'm not going to bust your guys' balls about your spacing because you have so many sectors to cover and so on. You guys remember that?
Yes, for sure.
Yes, for certain.
All right. So generally in an urban environment, you're going to be moving along, walls, storefronts, things like that, and you're going to favor a file formation. Okay. Now, big difference with a file in an urban scenario as opposed to, say, an open field. If you're moving along a wall, nobody has to cover the right because it's a fucking wall. There's nothing that's going to shoot you. So everybody's going to be covering one direction. That being said, if you're set up properly, you're also going to have a team directly across from you on the other side of the street. You don't want to be pointing your rifles at them, so you're actually going to be covering their high, and they're going to be doing the same thing for you. And what I'm going to have you guys do here real quick is I'm going to have 4 of you guys basically set up against this wall in a file, and then we'll kind of get you guys set up 100% proper. This is going to be pretty much the only time I'm giving you guys a completely clear pass on flagging people. Right? Flagging is basically pointing your rifle at someone. All our weapons are clear and safe and so on, but we need you to have your weapons up for this situation. All right. So I want 4 of you to set up against this wall in what you think would be a proper file to move down this street.
If I remember, third in line watches rooftops or second stories.
All right.
So I'm gonna get yelled at.
So I want you guys to kind of look around. Use your Alt key to free look and look around, and let me know if you guys think you're good to go. Don't everybody have an opinion at once.
I think maybe somebody pointing more to the left, for certain.
All right, so you want somebody pointing more towards the left. Who's that going to be? Should that be you or number 3 or number 4? Who should that be?
Probably number 3.
Well, if I remember correctly, number 3 is supposed to focus on rooftops or second-story windows on the flank.
That's all dependent upon the situation. If you have a team across from you, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be covering second story and above. All right. Now you guys think you're good? Everybody agree you're in the right positions, covering the right sectors and so on?
We're about to be yelled at.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. So, 2 things. Spacing. What did I tell you guys about spacing in an urban environment?
Close it down if necessary.
Close as possible. Not the butt. Close that shit in. Now you notice Porter's having issues getting close to you guys and staying up against the wall. He was damn near walking out here in the street. Why is that?
Disoriented, look behind you.
Pretty difficult to run backwards, ain't it?
Yes, for certain.
Yes,
So I told you guys to move into a file formation to move down this street. Porter, you plan on walking or running down this entire block backwards?
Negative.
Probably pick up a sector then.
That's why I wanted to look this way.
So that means, go ahead and turn yourself, looking over here, pretty much right at me. Now, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to move down the street sidestepping than it is running backwards. Liru, you can look right about at me. So, now you guys can move and you can cover sectors. If you guys stop, then Porter, you would turn around and cover the rear. Now, oftentimes what guys will do and what I teach them to do in the UCS is when you do stop, 1 and 4 immediately drop to a knee. That means you're covering your rear as well, but that also means 2 and 3 can turn and fire over top of you if need be.
Yeah.
If you're engaged from the direct front
So
or direct
Johnson
rear,
and Porter go
2 and 3
crouch.
can spin around and fire over top of you. You got 2 weapons instead of 1 on that target, right? But this is basically how you're going to set up moving in this formation. I'm going to tell you now, you're not going to be able to maintain this spacing. Doesn't matter how
Yeah.
good you are,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to maintain spacing this close. However, point man has the most fucking responsibility in an urban scenario. Hands down, the most responsibility because he dictates the tempo. If he moves, everybody moves. If he stops, everybody stops. So that's why it's incredibly important for your point man to be fucking experienced in an urban scenario. Because if you guys needed to move right now, Johnson, how would you get these guys moving? How would you get this formation moving?
If we, for example, we're taking fire from, I'll say, this area, from my corridor here, I would say I would have my team move into the gate through the gate here that's open. While we're doing that, we're also checking sectors where we do so. Just so that way I don't lose my whole fire team.
Okay, I did not ask you for a detailed explanation as to a react to contact scenario. I asked you how you would get these guys moving.
Oh, my apologies, sir. I will ask if
Sorry,
my
I'm
team's
sorry.
ready, and once everybody thought they're ready, I'll get some men to move.
Okay, do it.
1 sec. 1 set.
2 set.
3 set.
4 set.
All set. All right, move.
All right. Come back out here.
He gonna do a yell.
Did I tell you guys to breach this compound?
No, First Sergeant.
Sorry.
Told you guys you were setting up in a formation to move down this street. Did I not?
Never
You did, First Sergeant.
So do you guys think you should be moving down the street or breaching the compound?
Moving down the
Moving
street,
down the
First
street,
Sergeant.
First
Moving
Sergeant.
down the street.
Attention to detail is important, gentlemen.
I'm just doing what this guy tells me to.
So let's try that movement again.
1 set.
2 set.
3 set.
4 set.
All set. Move.
All right, go ahead and come back. Bring it on back.
Pull back, pull back. You don't have to pull back, we're just walking back.
So, how do you guys think that was?
Cluster.
Kind of rough.
Yeah, kind of like geriatric porn, slow and sloppy as fuck. So, what I want you guys to basically memorize here or get in the practice of doing, if you're the point man, there's basically 2 commands that I want you guys to memorize. All right. First one is stand by to move. I use that all the time. Any element that I'm with, like if I'm leading a team or, you know, whatever, if we're getting ready to move, I'm going to tell them stand by to move. Basically, by you telling them stand by to move, that lets them know to drop their, 360 security and pick up a normal sector. Now, for this situation, obviously, you're not going to be dropping 360 if you're already in your primary sectors, but if you were stopped and that's why you're getting moving, that rear guy is going to be, or that last guy is going to be pointing rearward. So you saying stand by to move, that lets him know, drop that rearward facing security and turn and pick up his normal movement security. All right, you guys understanding that so far?
Yes, First Sergeant.
All right. So stand by to move. That rear guy gets a spin, pick up his normal sector. Then I'm going to say moving, pause, and then I'm going to move. Okay. The reason we do that little pause there, we say moving and then pause and then move, that basically gives everybody kind of a quick second to register, what you said, register the fact that you're going to be moving, get their feet rolling, and then go. Now, again, you're still not going to be able to maintain that fucking nice close spacing like what you have sitting still, but it'll be a little bit better. The next thing, in terms of keeping that spacing, you need to make sure you're all moving at the same rate of movement. So, when you move in an urban scenario, you move ready to fight. That means that your weapon is up in your shoulder, ready to engage, meaning you're in combat pace. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say combat pace?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
All right. So, moving in an urban scenario, you move ready to fight. Now, that's not going to apply at all times, basically only when you're in a high threat area, meaning you're moving through an area that has not been cleared by friendlies. If you're moving through an area that's already been cleared, then it's fine. You can lower your weapon. It's not a big deal. But if you're in a high threat environment, you move ready to fight. Right? So everybody make sure you're in combat pace. Get it set up nice and tight again. Not need to call sets. Calling a set is something that you do when you're getting ready to breach, because you're set, ready to breach. But go ahead and set up. Close that spacing in. Looking at you, number 3. There we go. Close it in. All right, now Porter, go ahead and pick up your normal rear security. Johnson, go through the steps we just talked about.
Yep. One set.
I just told you not to call your sets. It was less than 10 seconds ago. What's the command? First command I told you to memorize.
Stand by to move.
Step out of move.
Porter, what should you be doing when he says stand by to move?
Picking up my new sector.
All right, you said stand by to move. What's the next step?
Moving. Moving.
Get your ass back here.
We're gonna be here a while.
Point man calls moving, not number 2. He was trying to give you a hint.
Let's give him a warm welcome,
Look, can
shall
somebody
we?
do this? Cause I'm not experienced at doing this shit.
Sure, I'll take it, bro. Don't worry about it. You want us to get back into holding formation
Yep,
for
we're
start?
going. Yep. All right,
Stand by to move.
stand by. Hold on.
Step out of move.
Can anybody tell me what Johnson just did correct?
He immediately picked up a sector.
With the most experienced person up front.
Bingo. Johnson recognized that he is not properly fucking qualified, basically, to do that job. That's not a slight against Johnson. He recognized, I can't fucking do this. That's perfectly fine. He took action and told someone else, do my job. I am not qualified to do it. That's not wrong. Okay? You didn't make a mistake because you don't feel comfortable doing it. You made the right choice by asking someone else to do it because you were not comfortable. Eventually, you'll get to a point, hopefully, where you feel comfortable doing that. But that's what we're talking about when we say, let the best guy for the job do that fucking job. All right, is everybody clear on that?
Yes, for sure.
Yes, for certain.
That's for sure.
All right. Order, get rear security. Lee, take it from the top.
Stand by to move. Moving.
I don't think Lead's gun is
All
up.
right, Porter and go ahead and stand by. Stop, stop,
Hold.
stop. Bring it back here. All right. You guys ever seen the movie Tremors?
Go for Sergeant.
Those big ass worms called graboids.
It doesn't ring a bell for Sarn.
Basically, they're these gigantic fucking worms that eat people. They come up out of the ground and fucking snatch people up and eat them. It's a work of fiction. So, Porter, unless you expect to see gigantic worms come up out of the ground and fucking eat you, stop pointing your rifle at the ground. They ain't gonna shoot at you from there. Pick your rifle up and cover an actual goddamn sector. Right, one more time from the top.
Stand by to move.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
Moving.
Thy time has come.
Okay, bring it back.
Porter, there's a pause, and then we move after he says moving. Don't overtake other people.
All right, you jumped the gun a little bit there. All right, we're not going to sit here and do this all night, though. All right, so
Mustache, thanks for the 12-month resub. Your time has
real
come.
quickly, Dogan, go ahead and replace Liru as number 3.
Thanks so much for the 12-month resub,
right,
my dude.
tighten
Hope
up
you keep
formation
enjoying the
a little
ops, and I hope we get a kick out of this. Porter, back it up a little bit. There you go. That's a little too much.
Johnson, get a little bit closer.
There you go.
All right. Stand by to move. Moving.
Yeah, Dogan's dropping the gun a little bit, but
Get your fucking weapon up, Dogan. All right, bring it back.
double tap C. Or no. We're doing 506 bindings. It would be Control C.
All right, that was fine with exception of Dogan not having his fucking weapon up ready to fight, but got it after I said something. All right. So does everybody feel like they have a basic
Oh, is it double
understanding
tap
of how you
C?
want to fucking move in
Oh,
a file in an urban scenario?
Yes, sir.
Yes, for
Yeah, for Sergeant.
All right. Now to move on from there.
It's okay. I
When
didn't
we're
shout
moving
it.
in an urban scenario, all right, generally we are not going to be breaching and clearing every single building. Our SOP is that we only breach and clear.
No,
a
I think my
building
double tap
if
C is walk.
there
It's
is
Control C
known
to put the gun
combatants
up.
inside, or we suspect
I'm
there to be
stupid.
combatants inside. I.e., we heard rifle fire
Control C
from
is
the
a conflict with
building
something else.
or from that general area, so we think they may be in that building. Then we'll go in and clear it. However, there may be times
I know
where
what's
we're
causing it then.
searching for weapons
No, I'm just retarded.
caches
Ignore me.
or HVTs or something like that, and you'll be told, hey, we got to clear every single building, in which case we're going to go into every building. That being said, one of the primary rules that you're always going to follow, especially in an urban scenario, is that we always combat the known threat first. What I mean by that is, if you're moving down the street, like the way you guys were just moving, and say, you were tasked with clearing every fucking building within the town. That's fine, all right? Moving along the street, get up to your next building, clear it, it's all good, come out of the building, start moving down to your next one, and then you hear a gunshot, 2-3 doors down the street. What do you guys think you're going to do?
Find cover for Sergeant.
All right, find cover is not a bad option if he's shooting at you.
Push
What
to the
would you
shooter's
do
position.
after that? Why would you push to the shooter's position? You've been tasked with clearing every building. You're going to skip buildings?
Because you deal with the known threat first.
known threat.
Exactly. You're going to skip by those buildings and push to contact. You are going to combat the known threat first.
You made me question
Now, while
myself
you're
for a
moving,
second.
If you get engaged by a closer threat, then you're going to deal with that first because it's a higher threat. It's currently engaging you. But the guy that's down the street firing his fucking rifle, he doesn't have to be engaging you. I promise you he's not firing his rifle because he's fucking bored. He's engaging somebody. And that's now a known threat. So you need to push to that threat and
I'm
eliminate
not a cheater. I've known
If
the
that
guy
means
for
you have
like
to
2
stick with
years.
A couple of buildings, that's fine. You can circle back to those buildings and
He's a
clear
great
them.
guy.
But you have an active shooter currently engaging friendlies. Have to push and deal with that threat.
Ask Hunter
All right,
to
everybody
level
clear
it
on
down
that?
and go home.
That's for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. Now, once it comes time to
So don't just
actually
drop the
breach and clear a
bombs.
building, all right, we're going to use this compound for an example because basically it's a gigantic square. This is where we'll talk about central entry points. We'll go over corner entry points in a little bit. But when we do a breach, right, you can basically do a 4-man breach or a 2-man breach. Vast majority of buildings within Arma are only going to require a 2-man breach. They're just not big enough
No, I'm not
to
Susan right now.
put an entire fire team into. But if you understand the basics of a 4-man breach, you understand the basics of a 2-man breach, it's pretty much the same. You're just dropping 2 guys, right? So what you're going to do, once you basically made the decision, we have to clear that building. First thing that's going to happen is the point man is going to get up to the entry
Probably just going to
point,
go to
and he's
payday
gonna
plague.
pie
I already did my
the
Susap
entry
today.
point. What that's going to
Normally I
look
take
like,
Tuesdays off though.
go over here to the other side. If I was the point man, right, we were coming the other direction basically. Everybody see my little red laser right now?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yeah, for Sergeant.
All right, so if I'm the point man, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to lean out,
You're going to pie it
and I'm going to
first.
get a look into the room, compound, whatever it is we're going to be breaching. I'm going to move just like that, all right? Pieing the opening. Now, the farther out away from the wall you get, better slice of the pie you get, as we call it. But you don't want to be way the fuck out here in the middle of the street trying to slice the pie, right?
Basically
Use
going a
little bit of common
semicircle
sense here.
formation.
So we're going to take a few steps out from the wall, push up, and pie. I want you guys to stop when you reach this point, this threshold right here.
You don't want to cross the other
When
line.
you get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more advanced, you can do a full pie across the door, meaning you move all the way across. Generally, what you'd do is once you get into this threshold, you'd stand up so you move a little bit quicker, get all the way across, so on. Generally, an opening like this large, you don't want to do a full cross pie
Yeah, too
on
much room.
because it's just too large.
Only
You're
on the
out in
doorway
this
is like what's up
fucking
there.
area too long. All right. Anybody happen to know what the nickname for this area is right here? No?
Would it
Have
be a
no
fatal
guess?
funnel, First Sergeant?
Fatal funnel. It's called the fatal funnel because all of the bullets that are in there are about to funnel the fuck out here. Spend as little time as humanly possible in the
Oh, Hardman
fucking
said
fatal
it in the
funnel.
chat. God damn it, I didn't even notice.
That means
Now everyone's gonna think I
you
copied
get
off
an
of
opening
Hardman.
this
Fuck.
big, you don't want to pie all the way across. It's just too large. You spend too much time in the funnel. When it's a, traditional entry door, which
Yeah, see there. Boom.
traditionally an entry door is 36 inches,
That's why I need a camera.
3 feet.
Then
You
you'd
can get
see my
across that fairly
face,
quickly.
and then everyone would
This,
unsub.
not so much.
Your
It's
cheat's
about 8
confirmed.
feet. You're not crossing that real quick. Now, if I'm the point man and I'm pieing, doing just normal pie, and I get to, here, and there's a shooter inside the compound in my direct line of sight, what do you guys think I'm going to do?
Open up.
Engage.
Shoot him.
All right, engage. Anything else?
Call contact.
Contact report.
I don't think you need a contact report specifically, but
Well, if I'm the point man, the rest of my team's behind me, and I fire my rifle, that's a pretty
that's
sufficient
enough of a contact report.
because
Yeah.
if I'm fucking touching off my rifle, it means I'm in contact. You're not wrong that I'm going to engage, but there's basically a second step to that. Yes, I'm going to engage. Okay, from here. But I'm going to engage
Start
while
moving
I'm falling
back.
back to
Yep,
cover.
yep.
I'm going to drop back into my stack. I'm not going to sit out here and get in a one-on-one gunfight with a motherfucker inside of a room while I'm standing in the funnel. Ain't a goddamn one of you named Wyatt Earp. No fucking reason you should be in a one-on-one gunfight. Engage and fall back to your stack. We do not fight fair. There's one motherfucker in the room with a rifle. I want 4 of us in the room. Everybody understand that?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Sure.
All right.
I'm so surprised
So,
he hasn't gone off because someone keeps
Point
calling
man,
him
I'm going to
Sergeant.
conduct my pie. There's a shooter in there. I'll engage while I'm falling back. If there's not, then I'm just going to stop at the threshold, fall back to my stack. Then I'm going to relay all relative information to the rest of my element. So I'm going to tell them, if there's a door right, stairs left, shooter near right, shooter far left, whatever it may be, I'm going to relay all pertinent information to them. Once I've relayed that information, then it's on the team leader to decide how we're going to breach. If we're just going to do a normal breach, go in, or
Breach
if
and
we're going to
clear,
use some
frag
type of
and
throwable.
clear, flash
Generally,
and
we're going to use
clear.
throwables if there's someone inside the room. We're going to, prefer to use flashbangs, but if we have no other choice, we're going to use a frag grenade. No other choice, meaning something like there's a PK gunner behind with a hide. There's a good chance the flashbang is not going to have an effect on them, so on and so forth. We'll lead with a frag, all right? But basically, we're either going to do just a normal breach or we're going to use some type of hand-thrown munitions. Now, if we're going to use hand-thrown munitions, who's going to throw the grenade?
The first person, First Sergeant?
All right. So, I'm the point man. I'm going to throw a grenade. I know there's a shooter inside the room right now, so I'm going to throw a flashbang. Get out here. I just got shot in the face. Damn. Or, I'm the point man. I'm going to throw the grenade. I'm going to step out here to throw the grenade. Somebody just stepped in front of me, trying to come out of the room. But I have a grenade in my hand. And I ought to have it just click my mouse button, shoot him, and I threw a flashbang. It bounced off of him and flashed my entire fucking team. Now we're all blind.
He's making fun of me.
Who's going to throw the grenade?
-2.
2.
Number 2. I'm going to maintain security on the entry point. In case someone does fucking try and step out here, I'm going to be able to drop them. Number 2 is going to step out, basically throw the grenade right over top of number 1's head. So just lob it over the top of him. Better hope your aim's good enough you don't bounce it off the back of his head. Obviously, that's not a concern you would have in reality, but, you know, Arma says fuck you sometimes. So number 2 is going to step out and throw the grenade. So they're going to say frag out or flash out, you know, whichever type of grenade it is. Once that grenade goes off, once you hear the detonation, whether it's frag or flash, doesn't matter, that's your fucking go code. As soon as that thing goes off, all of you better be getting in that room. Doesn't matter if it's 2 of you
Oh,
going
Apex,
in or
no
4
problem. I
going
didn't know
in.
if it was a.
Everybody
I didn't
better
know
be
it was a
piling
race
into that fucking
question.
room as
I
soon
thought
as
it was
that grenade
just
goes off.
colors.
One quick thing that I forgot to mention: when the point man pies the room, if it's a small room,
Why
and
would
you
you need to
know
give me a
that you
hard
only
time
need
if
2 guys in
Bloodwind's
there,
not
just
here
call
to do it?
short
What
room.
the fuck?
Call short room that lets the other 2 guys immediately
Everyone wants
know
to bully
they're
Liru.
going to stay outside on security. Only 2 guys are going in. All right, everybody clear on that?
Yeah, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. So, once it comes time to actually breach, if I'm the point man over here, I'm going to be the first guy going in the room. When I go to breach, what direction do you think I should go?
Left.
Left? Anybody think I should go right?
Wouldn't it depend on the situation?
Nobody thinks I should go right.
Wouldn't it depend on the situation, First Sergeant?
Yeah, technically it depends on the situation. Depends on the situation of which side I'm breaching from. Why would I go left if I'm on the left side of the entry point?
I think because you've already had eyes to the right. Now
Yeah,
you
you already
got
pied the
eyes
right.
to the left.
There you go.
Yeah.
If I'm on the left side of the entry point, when I pied the opening, I seen the right side of the room. So that means that's where I have the most information on, is the right side of the room. If I'm the first guy going in the door, my responsibility is going to be to go to the side that I have the least amount of information on, because I'm the first rifle getting in there. So if I am on the left side of the entry point, I pie it, I see the right side of the room, I'm going to button hook left on my entry wall, because that's where we have the least information on. Now, that's going to change slightly in a corner entry, and again, we'll go over that in a little bit, but on a central entry point, point man is pretty much always going to button hook. Only change to that is when we're doing a cross breach. So if there was 2 of you over on the right side, 2 of us over here on the left side, sometimes we'll do a cross breach, or we'll just have both guys button hook, 1 and 2 on the other side, just button hook both on their entry wall. But predominantly, point man's always going to button hook on his entry wall. Are everybody clear on that?
Yeah, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. So, I button hook left. Number 2 is going to go opposite, so he's going to go right. Number 3 is going to go left. Last man's going to go right. Pretty damn simple. That's why traditionally in a stack to breach, the point man is going to be the rifleman. Number 2 is the team leader.
Yeah, right away,
3
Apex.
is
Have a good
grenadier, and last man is the AR. That means 1 and 3 are the natural buddy teams. 2 and 4 natural buddy teams. They go to the same sides when they breach. But again, not set in stone. You know, whoever's the best
Some
up front,
loud-ass
put them
rain.
up front. Doesn't matter who the fuck they're buddied with inside the room. Be able to work together. You're all one team. Not that big of a deal. Now, once you breach, once you actually go in, then you got some real fucking responsibility. All right, so let's step inside here real quick.
Yeah, double
Once
C
you
for
make
these walking.
entry into the room, 1 and 2 really have the most responsibility. They're basically clearing the entirety of the room themselves. 3 and 4 are really just added fucking rifles in the fight. Now, as I said, most buildings you're only going to have 2 guys come into anyways. What I want you guys to do, go ahead and step back here roughly to where I am and look out towards the entry point there. So if I'm the point man, I come in and I button hook. First thing I'm going to be doing, obviously, my rifle's coming all the way across this area. Anything in here while I'm sweeping across, that's still my responsibility. You know, there's some that will argue, you know, ignore it, leave it for number 3 to come in and clear it behind you because your primary responsibility is the near corner. That's a little bit more achievable in real life because
than
you're able
Arma
to move
3.
a hell of a lot quicker and a hell of a lot smoother than what you are in Arma. In Arma, not so much. That third guy isn't going to be in the room a split second after you. It's going to be a little bit slower than that.
Yeah.
So as I'm sweeping across, if I see a target, I'm going to start engaging him, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep moving. So I'm just going to very quickly dump 3 to 4 rounds in him and keep moving towards my sector of responsibility. Anytime we breach a room, we're always going to be on full auto. So I'm going to dump a couple of rounds into him real quick and then go to my primary. If there's nobody there in that sector as I'm sweeping across, then I'm going to come in. I'm going to check the near corner, far corner, then center of the room, and then back to the far corner. Now, obviously, this is a little bit different because there's a building. You can't directly see the far corner, so on. That's more advanced stuff for UCS. But if this were just a gigantic square room, I would come in, near corner, far corner, center of the room, far corner, and hold on the far corner. All the while, I'm pushing all the way down to my corner. I'm going to stop once I get into the corner. Same goes for the guy on the other side, number 2. He's going to come in near corner, far corner, center, far corner. Now, 3 and 4, when they come in, obviously, they don't need to check near corner because that's where number 1 or number 2 is. So their immediate sector responsibility is the far corner. So they're going to come in far corner, center of the room, and then they're going to hold on the center of the room. They don't need to hold on the far corner because that's what 1 and 2 are doing. So they're going to immediately hold center of the room. And they're only going to move roughly halfway down the entry wall. They're not going to set up right on top of the guys in the corner. They're not going to be shoulder to shoulder with them or anything like that. They're going to stop halfway down the entry wall. So, again, 1 and 2, they're what we call the corner guys. Their primary sweep is near corner, far corner, center of the room. That's their quick primary sweep. Secondary sweep is going to be center of the room, back to the far corner. So that's where they're going to be, you know, if it is a walled compound like this where there's a building in it, your secondary sweep where you're going from center of the room back to the far corner, that's where you're going to be checking windows, doors, balconies, rooftops, things like that. That's your more detailed scan, is when you're going back from center of the room to the far corner. All right, everybody understanding that so far?
Yes, sir. Sergeant.
All right. Now, corner guys are the ones that are going to call their sides clear. Okay, so 1 and 2, they're the ones that are going to call the side clear. You guys have probably heard that before in fucking movies or videos you've watched and shit like that. You know, left clear, right clear. Whoever calls their side clear last is the one that calls the room clear. So if left calls, you know, left clear last, then he's going to call left clear, room clear. But if there's a hide, and this isn't as much of an issue in Arma, with exception to walled compounds where there might be like a car or, you know, a building or something like that for the enemy to hide behind. You know, in
Everywhere's a
reality, we have
murder
to worry
hole,
about
yeah.
you know, couches,
How you
fucking
doing? What's that?
kitchen bars, you know, just different shit like that we got to worry about people hiding behind. If you have a hide, you can't call the room clear. You have to clear that hide first. But again, in Arma, we don't have that concern as much. So again, left clear, right clear, room clear. All right, everybody clear on that?
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. Next, if there is a hide, say we're in a walled compound and there's a truck in the center of the compound, right? We got to clear the back of that and make sure there's nobody hiding behind it. So then the call is going to come to push. Team leader is going to say, push. What I want you guys to do, there's a couple of different ways of doing this, but the way I want you guys to do it for now is stick to your walls. Right? You can also push online, but again, the way I want you guys to do it right now is stick to your walls. Okay. So what's going to happen 1 and 2 are going to push
All right,
down the
what's that?
long
I'll try
wall.
to come Sunday.
When we talk about walls, we're going to, this is your entry wall. That's your long wall. Wall on the back side is called the far wall. Okay, so you have entry wall, long wall, far wall. So corner guys are going to push down the long wall from their corner. 3 and 4 are going to push down the entry wall to the near corner and then push up the long wall behind 1 and 2. Either 1 or 2 are going to continue looking direct forward. The other guy that isn't looking direct forward, he's going to pie that hide. All right, so the guy that is looking direct forward is going to stop short of the hide. The guy that's going to pie it is going to keep moving forward. He's going to do just like we did with this entry point. He's going to lean around, cut an angle on the back side of the car, clear it. Once he calls it clear, he's going to call area clear. Then everybody's just going to move to the back of the compound, set rear security, or do whatever it is that needs to be done. If there's a building that needs to be cleared, they can push on the building and clear it. Or if you're doing, a full squad clear, like what you would do on something this size, then you would just hold security in the back of the compound. Your entry team would actually come into the compound and breach the building. All right, everybody clear on all of that so far?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do is the 4 of you are going to step out here and set up on the wall. We'll go through the last little bit in terms of steps to go through to breach. And then you guys are going to practice that a little bit. All right, so go ahead and move back outside here.
All right, going first.
All right, so I want 4 of you to set up basically like you did in that file, like you were going to move down the street. All right, so a couple of things to go over here.
Yeah, he's the first sergeant.
Firstly, when you stack up to breach, I want you guys to look at where Lee is right now.
Nelson.
Right about where you want to stack. That's where you want your offset to be in terms of the entry point. You don't want to stack up. Lee, go ahead and move forward. You don't want to stack up like that.
Yeah, because you're going to get
So
shot.
you don't want the barrel of your weapon system penetrating the threshold that you're about to fucking breach. Just visual signal to everybody inside, someone's out there. All right, so you're going to want to stack up a few feet off the door. So again, point man's going to go through his pie, fall back, relay information. Once he's relayed the information, then you're going to call your sets. So 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, last man set. If he called short room, which again is an immediate signal that only 2 of us are going in, then he's going to call 1 set. Number 2 is going to say, what do you think?
Last man set.
Last man set, because he's the last guy going in the room. So that lets number 1 now know, all right, we're all set, we're ready to go. Right?
That's some
Once
communities,
last man set
Afro.
is called,
It's not
then
TSB,
on
it's
the number 2
506
guy.
IR, but, so
Really doesn't
some
matter
people
if
like
it's
to
the
play.
team leader, who it is, just whoever's number 2 in the stack is going to say breaching, right? If he's just doing a normal breach, or if they're doing a throwing munitions, he's going to step out, throw the grenade, detonate, then you go from there. But if you're just doing a normal breach, who's going to call breach? That's a signal to everybody to drop their security. Right? Sorry, he's not going to say breaching. He's going to say breach. So number 2 is going to say breach. That lets 3 and 4 know drop your security face forward. That way you're just able to get in there a little bit quicker. It's not so much like a what's the word I'm looking for here? There's not any real life per se reason as to why you'd say breach to let 3 and 4 know to drop their sector. It's mostly just an Arma thing, so you can get moving a little bit quicker. So he's going to say breach. 3 and 4 are going to drop their sector, turn forward. Now it's all on the point man. Once he hears breach, it's all on him. He decides when the breach is actually going to happen. So he hears breach, then the point man will say breaching, pause, what direction he's going, pause, and then go. So if it's Lee, he's going to say breaching, going right, and then go. And when he goes, Everybody else better be right fucking behind him. Everybody else that's going in the room. So in this situation, all 4 of you are going to be going in. Right? You guys understand the steps to go through the breach.
Ever start?
Yes, for some.
Yes, sir.
All right. Lee, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all good. What's that?
One set.
2 set.
Can't call the type of compound.
Reset.
Gentlemen, are you set? There we go.
Last man set.
Johnson, you say breach.
All set. Breach.
Breaching. Going right.
Go left.
There still need to be a pause.
Stop. Why in the fuck are you guys moving out of your corner? No one told you to push. Go back outside.
I'm just waiting to get yelled at and told to get on the fucking wall.
So we get to the corner, and then we don't push until they say push, essentially.
Exactly. You stay in that corner like you're fucking anchored to it until told otherwise.
Roger
Once
that,
you're told to
Sergeant.
push, then you move.
Roger.
All right, let's try it again.
One set.
2 set.
Reset.
Last man set.
All set. Breach.
Breaching. Going right.
Crossing.
Why in the fuck are you out of your corner? I'm gonna go find a newspaper roll and start beating you with it like you're a fucking poorly behaved dog. Get your ass back in the corner. Corner that's behind you.
I'm sorry. Cracks me up.
All right. Bring it back outside. All right. You guys don't need to stack back up. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys do this over and over and over again. All right. I'm going to assume you understand the basic fucking concept of this, or at least you should by now.
I do, First Sergeant.
All right. So, as I told you guys, you're not going to be perfect at this. Okay. Nobody's ever going to be perfect at this. Make sure you're staying in your fucking corner until you're told to push. Okay. Reason being, let's go ahead and step back inside here real quick.
I don't know. As I think the past few weeks we've had some weird waves come into TSB.
Right.
That's for sure.
So, the reason that it's so vital to stay on your fucking entry wall until the order comes to push, right? Say that wall over there, partway across that wall, there was an opening, say like right in there, something like that. And you just immediately pushed off that corner and start pushing up that wall. And then a threat pops up in that opening. And your number 3 guy is over here. And he goes to engage that threat.
You could be caught in a crossfire, essentially.
But you now have walked in front of his barrel.
Yep.
Because you pushed off your entry wall and are no longer online with him. He now can't engage. Because you're in front of his barrel. Same goes for 3 and 4. If I'm number 3 and I walk off my entry wall out here for some fucking reason, and a threat presents itself somewhere back in
redacted their own greedy message.
One can't engage because
Christ.
I'm in front of his barrel. This is fucking no man's land. at no point in time should you guys be out here in the center of the room, compound, whatever. Right? Later on, when you learn how to push online and stuff like that, it's a little bit different, but you always want to stay online with your guys. You don't want to push offline with them because now you're limiting their engagement capabilities. Okay, so stick to your entry wall. All right, everybody clear on that?
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. Last thing we're going to go over here before we real quickly head back inside the main building and go over corner entry points. One of the things that our instructors drilled into us, okay? If you're wrong, stay wrong.
Yeah, don't try to fix it.
If you're wrong, stay wrong. If you were supposed to go left and you went right, you better stay the fuck on the right side. Do not cross back through that threshold, okay? If you were number 3, you were meant to go right and you go left and then you try to cross back through there, there's a good chance you're going to run into your fucking buddy. And now both of you are fumble fucking around in the doorway. And potentially both of you are getting shot. You're wrong, stay wrong. Let the guy behind you make up for your fucking mistake. If you were the last guy in the room, tough shit. The guy that's solo, he's going to have to fucking deal with it until the area is secure, and then you can link back up. Everybody clear on that?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes,
All right. All right, let's go head over fucking corner entry points.
I think this is the last section. I'm gonna toggle the combat pace.
All right. Go ahead and move yourselves inside this little room here right in front of me. Okay. So this room has a corner entry point. Now, obviously, if I'm making entry here on the right side of the entry point, your guys' left, I can still do a normal button hook, right? Because if I pied, I see, it's just flat wall on the left. I'll call out to the guys, we got fucking flat wall left or short wall left, and I'm still going to button hook right. That's fine. But if I was making entry on the left-hand side here, right, and I pie this, I can't necessarily see that this is going to be a short wall on the left or that there's no corner to go into. Because if I stop at the threshold, I'm not necessarily going to be able to see that there's no corner around there. So I'm still going to make the call to go left. But what's going to happen is when I go in and go left, I'm immediately going to see, shit, that's a wall.
Go forward.
But my responsibility is still going to be the same. I'm not going to cross over just because I've seen that there's nowhere to really go left. Still going to maintain this position. So what's going to happen is I'm going to come in and go left. Obviously, I'm going to clear the immediate corner in front of me, and then I'm going to check the far corner there. Okay, so that's my near corner. That's my far corner. Here's my center of the room. All the while, I'm going to be moving down this wall to hit this corner back in there.
You never want to stop at the doorway because you get shot. Yes, for Sergeant. If you get shot, you body block everybody else.
Number 2 is going to come in. His immediate responsibility, near corner, far corner.
Well, that's his near, right?
However,
that's far. Yep.
What problem do you guys see that brings up?
Crossfire.
There you go. If I'm moving into this fucking corner here, and there is a target in the center of the room, and the other guy across from me is moving into this corner, and there's a guy in the center of the room, there's potential there for crossfire. Right, so this is where you really got to have some fucking trigger discipline and not both be hitting the corner at the exact same time, facing the center of the room, both engaging. Really got to be paying attention to your surroundings and shit. And like I said, have some trigger discipline, realize what's going on, so on and so forth. Now, the first guy in, once I get in, near corner, far corner, center of the room, and then I'm going to go back to holding on the far corner. Same for this, near corner, far corner, center of the room, back to holding on the far corner, so on. But like I said, the main concern on a corner entry point is making sure you don't hit each other with a fucking crossfire. And number one, you know, first guy in the door, if he's breaching on the short wall or he's making entry on the short wall, he's got to fucking recognize that as soon as he comes in the room, that's a short wall. Can't, you know, cross back across the doorway because he's going to run into number two, so on and so forth, right? So corner entry points introduce some unique scenarios that are kind of shitty to deal with, but as long as you're on your toes and
let's
paying
give him a warm
attention
welcome,
and communicating a lot and so on, it's not too bad. Right? Anybody got any questions?
No, First Sergeant.
All right. Last thing, we're gonna go over here. Let's jump back outside here.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
All right. So, if we were doing, if the
Send
point
in
man
Goat
did the
Team
pie and called out
6
short room, how many
now.
guys are going in?
Got that badge.
2 for sure.
Thank you,
Two
the
guys.
year
So
of
that means the other
military
two guys
D
are gonna
and
stay
D.
outside. They're going to be providing outer security. So what that means
Lupin, 12 months.
is
Noise.
3 and 4 are going to be back here.
Thanks so much for
They're
the
gonna
support,
push up to
man.
this
Hope keep
entry
enjoying
point.
the ops, and I hope get a
They're
kick
gonna
out
hold
of
here.
this little training.
One guy's
think
going
we're
to be
almost
facing
done.
forward. One guy's going to be, you know, facing backwards, so on.
Yeah, right on, Mal. Have a good night.
Now, this is going to be situation dependent in terms of the second part of this I'm going to talk about, but the first part, not so much. So you're going to have 2 guys out here on security. Okay. When the guys inside are done clearing, and really you want to make a habit of doing this, whether you have guys on security or there's other elements on security, whatever, but when you come out of the building, before you step out of that building, you're going to call X number of friendlies coming out. So if there's 2 of you in there, you'll call, you know, 2 friendlies coming out. If there's 4 of you, 4 friendlies coming out. Right? Just to let whoever's outside on security know, hey, friendly's about to come out this door. Don't fucking shoot. Now, as you come out the door, if there's a guy out here on security, holding security on this entry point, hopefully he's paid attention to the fact that you said you got friendlies coming out, and he'll drop his barrel so you're not having to cross his barrel. If not, just say crossing, wait for him to acknowledge that you've said crossing, and then go out and cross in front of him. Understand, though,
I think we're wrapping up
whether
soon.
it be in this situation or any situation where you have to cross someone's
let's
barrel,
give him a warm welcome, shall
just because you say crossing doesn't mean it's just automatically safe to cross. They may not have heard you. They may have fucking comms going on, or, you know, whatever. They may not have fucking heard you. So when you say crossing, wait for confirmation that that person has heard you say that you're crossing their barrel. Because the last thing you want to do is just say crossing and run in front of them. And just as you go to run in front of them, have them fucking open up on somebody and end up
And you
fucking
get shot.
shooting you. Nobody wants to get shot by a friendly, and nobody wants to shoot their buddy. So say crossing, wait for him to say, you know, Roger or cross or whatever, and then head out. Now, what guys will sometimes do, which, you know, there's 2 schools of thought on it, but either way, what guys will sometimes do is once the entry team has pushed in, guys out here on security will actually pass the entry point. So if I was number 3, I would push past the door and push up here to maintain further security out, as where number 4 would stay on this side of the entry point, facing rearward, or even past the entry point and hold rearward security like this. Either way, we're just pushing past this entry point. So just keep that in mind. You know, sometimes you may see guys still in the same spot basically that you breach from, or they may have pushed up to the next corner of the building. All right, any questions on that?
No,
Sorry.
All right. Now, do you guys feel like you have a basic understanding of how to breach and clear a fucking room and move through an urban environment?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, sir, sir.
Practice time.
All right. Now, as I told you guys, this is the bare bones fucking basics. All right. You're going to continue to train on these techniques.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
This is something
shall
that we never stop drilling on. Guys are constantly doing refreshers and mount and CQC and so on and so
let's
forth.
give him a
And
warm
as I
welcome,
said,
shall we?
this training area is on the template that the server is always defaulted to. You guys are more than welcome to come out here, practice, whether it be in this kill house or out there in the actual, mock town that's built. That's fine. If a couple of you want to hop in here and just go through the motions, perfectly fine. Does anybody have any questions on anything we've covered today?
No, sir. No, for certain.
No,
No,
for Sergeant.
Sergeant.
No,
All
for
right.
Sergeant.
That's going to wrap it up for today. Now, like I told you guys, today's the fucking easiest day of OSUT there is. It's pretty much just fucking standing around listening. It's just a shit ton of information thrown at you. Probably a little bit fucking boring for you, but tough shit. The amount of stuff that we have to go over, there's going to be some points that are boring. Tomorrow is, or not tomorrow, but Thursday is going to be your fucking day of days,
Oh
basically.
God, Don, don't
Okay, so
remind me of
Thursday,
that.
we're going to get you guys loaded in here, 1900. We'll have a few guys from the unit come in and fill in some slots, so you'll have a full squad size element. You'll go out and do your FTX. It's your field training exercise. It's going to be a full live fire
Hardman,
exercise.
Heckman,
Can
come
last
fill
anywhere
in.
from 30 minutes to 2 hours,
I
depending
want
upon your
2
performance.
squads.
Once that's done, we'll reconvene, debrief, critique your guys' performance, talk about things that were done right, wrong, etc., and then we'll move on to the oral quiz. All right, everybody clear on what's going to be happening Thursday?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
For Sergeant.
All right. And
Dang
that's
it,
it for you
Heckman,
guys.
come
You're
on.
dismissed. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you, for certain.
Thank you, for Sergeant. So I'm gonna keep us going for a second, just so I can talk with you guys. So, yeah, day 4 is an FTX, and then we get to see if I actually took any decent notes. Just
Let's give him
some
a warm
fun little
welcome,
small
shall we?
things that came up. Yeah, so there's an 89th off we did a few weeks ago. This is what honestly made me leave that unit. Sorensic Zeused it. It was desyncy as hell. It was really, it just fell apart. Phoenix and I literally just walked off and killed ourselves at the end of it just so we could go back to base without staying in that AO. And then they had some milsim guy, and the 89th was supposed to be a casual unit, and they had some milsim guy come in, and he just started yelling at people. And within 5 seconds, I literally just said, "Nah, no," and I disconnected because I'm not gonna stand in a formation and listen to some guy bitch us out over a video game, over something that was like desyncing to high hell and shit. It was retarded, but yeah, I digress. Sunday, if I have the time, what's that? I'll try to come to your mount training. I've been meaning to go. I've just always had something IRL come up Sunday, but I think I'm free this Sunday. Thank fuck. And I'm also thinking about finding a guy that speaks English and Russian, because I want to go on the Arma Stalker servers and have a Russian guy that knows English translate for me and like a group of people, because I really want to do Arma Stalker stuff, but that probably won't come for a little long while because I am busy with a lot of other projects right now. Next stream will be probably tomorrow 2 p.m. I'll be on the ground as Araya is doing a Zeus operation. And I probably don't have anything to Zeus for tomorrow. It's just going to be that and then Cherry's Secret Squirrel stuff at 8 or 9-ish probably. Thursday, I won't be Zeusing anything either. Friday, I will be Zeusing. So, yeah, that is that. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Go operate operationally. Liru is Arma memery. Keck. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yes, there will be a Warcraft 3 stream on Thursday, and I'm probably going to go play Payday with a few friends, but I'm not going to stream that. But otherwise, go operate operationally, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Otherwise, cheers, and have a good one.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
And give
shall
that guy a warm welcome.